Welcome back to beautiful Long Beach, California, just south of LA for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. We've wrapped up Firestone Indy Lights, another young American in victory lane. Congratulations to Connor Daly. Great shot there of the scenery we have here at Long Beach as we work our way towards the IndyCar Series. There is a look at Mike Conway's car, Helio Castroneves. A lot of new paint schemes this weekend, and you always wondered, how do they change those car paint schemes so quickly from week to week? That's the subject of this week's Professor B.
Last week, Dario Franchitti was flying the blue Clorox colors. This week, he's back in red Target livery. So you say, well, no big deal. They just roll another chassis out of the trailer. Not the case. These are all the same pieces, suspension, gearbox, that's been bolted from last week's car onto a new chassis. The chassis and bodywork from last week is back in the paint shop, and that's going to have a new coat of paint and turn into a Kellogg's car to leave next week for Brazil. But when you put a coat of paint on, you can't put it over the top, or you could, but it weighs 7 pounds. If you carry 7 extra pounds around a road course, that's a little under 1/10 of a second that you lose in time. Remember last week, there were positions in qualifying that were determined by 100th or 1,000th of a second. When you go back to the paint shop and you want to take the paint off, you can see that it's carbon composite. So you can use no chemicals, you can't bead blast, you have to by hand sand all this paint off back to the carbon before you start again. Then they put the pieces back together and they seal this and paint the whole thing as a unit. So concerned are they about any kind of disruption to the air, these are not stickers. These are actually painted on and then clear coated. I can feel no edges whatsoever. So for all that work and all the craftsmanship that goes into it, why not use another car? Well, a rolling chassis, that's a car less engine, $400,000. The pieces you repaint, $100,000. So I guess Donald Trump would say, hey, 300 here, 300,000 there, that adds up to real money.
All right, thank you, Jan. There's a look at some of the work going back on the Service Central team. This is the Ganassi Satellite team, the 83 and the 38. Will Power. Up next, it's Wally's World with Wally Dallenbach on Versus. Back at the streets of Long Beach, working our way towards the IndyCar Series, round number 3 this date in history. Some 500 winners have had good days here before. And Allinger Jr., he is the driver for Wally Dallenbach Jr. in this installment of Wally's World.
Wally's World! Wally's World! IndyCar! Excellent! Wally's World! Wally's World! Wally's World!
Well, welcome to Long Beach, everybody. I am sitting behind one of the best IndyCar drivers that ever hit Long Beach. 6-time winner, Allinger Jr. Thank you, Albert.
Betcha, Wally. Glad to take you for a ride.
Hey, didn't your buddy Sullivan take you out around here somewhere?
Yeah, over at the back straightaway. We're just coming up on it now. It was Danny Sullivan in 1992.
All right, man, I want you to talk me around this place. Show me how you get around it so fast every year.
You betcha, we will.
Oh, I can see your trick right now. You cut half the track off.
That's how we did it, Wally.
Really good passing zone here, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got some traffic here.
I think we got some horsepower on it. I'll shake my fist when we go by. You keep your hands on the wheel. Hey, get out of the way!
How was that?
I'll tell you what, buddy. I really don't think you can appreciate this place from up there. If you'd like to get in the back seat, I'd like to return the favor.
That's a good guy to take you around here. Allinger Jr. won 6 times. Stay with us. IndyCar Central, presented by Verizon, is coming up next.
Southern California is known for its cars and stars. And this week, the best from both worlds converge on Long Beach for Grand Prix weekend. And thousands of fans are using whatever vantage point they can in order to watch one of the most prestigious street races in the world. Welcome to IndyCar Central on Versus, presented by Verizon, as we get set for the 37th Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. There are 6 former Long Beach winners in today's field, including points leader Will Power from Team Penske and his Ganassi racing rival Dario Franchitti. Ryan Hunter-Reay hopes to defend his emotional win from last year, and back in the field for the first time this year, 4-time Long Beach champion Paul Tracy. Paul returns to a track where he has a long history. His first race was in '91 for Dale Coyne. 2 years later, he won for Roger Penske. Tracy went on to win 3 more times here at Long Beach, his last victory coming in 2004, and now he's back in Southern California racing for Jay Penske. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to this beautiful setting here in Long Beach and a great afternoon of racing. Ask any driver, they will tell you, outside of winning the Indianapolis 500, this is the one they want to win. Some of the champions from the past here, legends like Mario and Michael Andretti, Danny Sullivan, Al Unser Jr. And there's another former winner in the field, and he's standing by with our Kevin Lee on our Versus stage down on pit lane.
Thank you, Bob. It is great to have Paul Tracy back in the IZOD IndyCar Series. 31 career IndyCar wins. Pretty nice that it comes at this place that you get back into the series. Long Beach is pretty special.
It's very special for me. Obviously, my first ever IndyCar race was here at Long Beach. My first ever win for Roger Penske was here. And it's great to be back with Jay Penske's Dragon Racing, and it wouldn't happen without sponsors like Motegi Wheels and Ralph's and Pepsi and Rockstar. So I've really got to thank them for getting me back to this is the place where it all started for me.
It's an interesting situation and an interesting deal. You have 4 races so far, maybe more eventually with Dragon Racing, and you're doing the Indianapolis 500 with Dreyer and Reinbold.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to try to put a deal together with Jay, but you know, sponsorship is key in these things. So our partners were not ready at the time when the deal with DNR came along. Obviously, I had to jump at the opportunity. I had a relationship with Dennis and Robbie, and they offered me a great program with Wix for the Indy 500. And you know, we're going to compete 5 races with Jay. And I think after this weekend, it hasn't gone to plan this weekend. We're not as competitive as we would like, but the race isn't over till the checkered flag falls. So from that standpoint, I think we've got a good chance at locking down some more races if we get a good result today.
Well, unfortunately, you've had to watch from home the first couple of races, but fortunately for us, you have a different perspective and vantage point. What have you seen of these double file restarts?
Well, they're wild, that's for sure. It's definitely hang on. It's like releasing a pack of wild wolves out of a cage. So, you know, from that standpoint, you know, we're in a position where we're starting further back. Obviously, the key for me is going to be sitting back and watching. You know, there's no need for me to try to make a TK move and pass 10 cars in the first corner. I think I'd rather wait and see how many go out and just kind of work our way through the field as we need to.
I still think you're going to entertain us somehow today. Good luck.
All right, I'm going to give it a try.
Look for Paul Tracy in the number 8 Ralph's Food car today. Well, we have plenty more to come here in IndyCar Central, and there's a look at drivers in the field who have already won here, including PT and Sebastian Bourdais, who's also won 31 times in IndyCar. Let's visit with another former champion. Marty Snyder has him.
That would be that guy right there, Dario Franchitti. And one of the big surprises in qualifying, no Ganassi cars in the top 6. We'll talk to Scott Dixon, his teammate, first. What happened in qualifying?
The cars, both target cars, were fairly decent. You know, I'm not sure if we had the time for the pole, but definitely for the top 6. And we got screwed, man, plain screwed. I spoke to Power this morning. He apologized for what he did. You know, he slowed down in turn 9-10 complex. We were up 2 tenths or a tenth and a half, which would have easily put us 4th. And, you know, it didn't happen. You know, maybe some fault that we left it too late in qualifying, but, you know, it's not good.
There's a healthy, no doubt, respect between Ganassi and Penske. There's also a healthy animosity there. Is that growing, do you think, Scott?
Yeah, definitely losing some respect for one of the Penske drivers. No, but it's competition. It's very tough, and when you're talking about a few, hundredths of a second, that's what it comes down to. So, what goes around comes around. We'll see when it comes around.
All right, Dario, you guys start 7th and 8th. Track position so important here. How do you pull off a win from there?
Oh, the first thing we've got to do today is get through that first corner on the start, and any subsequent restarts. It's going to be trying to make up places, but try not to get caught up in an accident too. So that once we get that bit out of the way, we can then go racing. But a strategy by the Target boys. The car this morning in warm-up felt the best it has felt all weekend. In fact, probably all season. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, real quick, you say you're the old married couple. Per his request, he wants to borrow a little luck. You willing to share some?
I'll give Dixie some luck, absolutely.
All right, a little bit of luck, and he's going to give him a 10 hat. Oh, how nice. The old married couple starts 7th and 8th today. Let's head over to Lindy Thaxton.
Well, Justin Wilson's plan coming into this weekend was to start 1 or 2 and run that way the whole race, but you're starting 5th. How does that affect your plan?
It's not exactly to plan, but after the day we were having yesterday, being 18th in practice, I feel really good that we managed to turn the Z-Line Designs car around and get in that top 6. And hopefully we can have a good, strong day today. We're quick at getting warm up. We think we found some things overnight, so we're looking forward to it. Can't wait to get started.
And Justin Wilson will be driving with a broken wrist. He finished 2nd here last year. Ryan Hunter-Reay started 2nd and won. The defending winner took a moment to check out his name and picture on the ground in victory lane here at Long Beach earlier this weekend. When we come back, more on Ryan's link to Long Beach.
That was Wednesday night up in Hollywood as the band Young the Giant entertained drivers and celebrities alike at an IZOT gathering. And here in Long Beach, fans are taking to the rooftops for today's race, which will start in about 40 minutes. Well, there are important events and places in all of our lives, and for Ryan Hunter-Reay, most trips to Long Beach carry a great deal of emotion. A year ago, Ryan won on the streets of Long Beach, but that was just the latest of many significant moments in his life to unfold here.
What an afternoon for Ryan Hunter-Reay. He adds his name to the list of great drivers who have won here. His mom passed away during the winter months. For her, he wins the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
My mom's out there with me today. She passed away recently, and this race is for her, that's for sure. Long Beach means so much more to me than a race win for so many reasons. This is the place where I started my open wheel professional racing career in Atlantics and kart champ car race, but the biggest impact on me was my mother introducing me to my fiancée, Becky. As you can imagine, wearing a race suit, it's not too hard to find pretty hot chicks, but I found one for myself. I'm having dinner with my mom, and Becky walks in the restaurant to meet some folks, and the table was too crowded for her party, and my mom and I just made room for her, and when my mom's under the table, kneeing me,
she likes
hey,
me.
This is the one, this is it.
When we're walking out of the restaurant, she's like, oh, Ryan will walk you to your car. Don't worry, he'll take you. Oh, sweetie, let him take you. So he walks into my car, and my battery wouldn't start. So we had to deal with my car for like a full hour. We got my car jumped for a whole 5 minutes, just enough time to take him back to his hotel. You can tell him what happened on the way.
She proceeded to run over a median on the way there. She was so flabbergasted I was in the car with her. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, what happened? I didn't feel anything. I'll do the driving from now on, but yeah, everything else has been smooth sailing from there.
I'm pretty good in a go-kart.
You are. Another big Long Beach moment for us was in '09. We got engaged here during the race weekend, and that was shortly after my mother's diagnosis of colon cancer. Since then, we've moved to Florida, and I've been doing everything I can on the fight against cancer, and it's so important to me because my mom fought so hard. She had such a great outlook on everything. She was always positive. It's important to me her fight lives on. One of the really fun things we did with Racing for Cancer was we got involved with the Florida Fish for Life tournament. We raised a lot of money in the fight against colon cancer. Now in 2011, we've taken it one step further. We've put 28 on the side of the car, representing the 28 million people worldwide fighting cancer. I feel like I'm driving for them. I'm proud this weekend also to announce that I'm now officially a global envoy for Livestrong, and doing it all in honor of my mother.
I just really wish that his mom could be here with us.
She'd love to be. She'd love nothing more, and that's why we keep pushing on, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And Ryan got to watch part of that feature. And to add to the emotion of this week, on Wednesday, his fiancée Becky's bridal shower was this week as well. What were the emotions this week returning here as the defending champion and all that goes into this race for you?
Well, the race itself, Long Beach, means so much to me for so many reasons. But really just concentrated on the job, driving IndyCars. It's what I love to do, and this is one of my favorite tracks. So that's when it's crunch time. You got to make it happen.
Is there extra pressure on you, and are you able to put the emotion to the side because you know this is one of your best chances of the year to win?
Well, it puts natural pressure on you just because you know that the capabilities are there within the team and yourself to really perform well at this track. So you get to the track and you think, geez, if we're 10th or 11th in the first practice, well, that's way off where we were last year. So, but we hit everything we needed to this weekend. We really wanted that pole, but we didn't get it. We're on the front row, and we did it last year from there, and we can make it happen this year, I think.
Let's jump back to last week real quick, some contact with you and Ryan Briscoe. I understand you two talked when you got here. What was that conversation like?
It was fine. I mean, it was probably an over-optimistic move on my part, very aggressive move on my part, and I'm going to be just as aggressive today. That's how I am. I'm going to take chances, and I'm not one to just sit behind and settle. I'm gonna go for it. The team told me at the time that he knew I was on reds, and Briscoe was saving fuel, and that RP told him, hey, if he's faster, let him go, and that's on me for letting that influence the decision. But I'm going to be just as aggressive today, and that's how hopefully we'll go win the race.
He mentioned qualifying second. He said it still bothers him. He said second in the race today, though, not acceptable. Lindy?
I'm with Ryan Briscoe. We just talked to the other Ryan. You all talked. Is it settled, or does it come into play today?
Oh, no, it's all good. We talked, and actually Ryan rang me shortly after the race, and he actually came up to me again today and just said he apologized and said he's even more so after thinking about it, and it's fine. He was really fast in Barber, and I think just got a little bit impatient with the timing, but I've made mistakes before as well, and we just got to move on, and he's got himself a really good starting position today on the front row. I've got a little bit more work from 12th, so hopefully I can catch up and go racing with him. But I really want to thank Penske Truck Rental and everyone at Team Penske and Izod for the support. Hopefully we can get a result here and maybe get on the podium.
Yes, you were fast in all the practice sessions, then qualified 12th. Is the car better than that, or did someone hold you up? Did your teammate hold you up?
No, it wasn't that. We made a little setup change going from Q1 to Q2. The times were so close. I just got pretty loose. We could have done an extra lap, but I was out of fuel. So it was just a lot of things going on. It was getting busy on the track. There were lots of cars around, and it was difficult to get clear space. But I can make up a million excuses, but I just needed to be a little bit quicker.
Kevin, Ryan's best finish here, 8th last year.
Thank you, Lindy. And one of the other highlights of this weekend is the Toyota Celebrity Race, which was contested yesterday. Stephen Moyer from HBO's True Blood was quick in the qualifying, set to start on pole until this. He did not start in the race, but he's okay. So actor William Fichtner from Armageddon, Black Hawk Down, Prison Break on the pole. That's Kevin Jonas of the Jonas Brothers getting into the tire barriers. Tito Ortiz of UFC fame trying to get around the charity auction winner Jerry Westland. But William Fichtner wins wire-to-wire the celebrity and the overall. The pro Ken Gucci, the drifting champion, is the winner in that category. Well, Will Power will start on the pole today, and when we come back, we expect to talk with the winner of last week's race at Barber. You're watching IndyCar Central, presented by Verizon. This is Versus. Welcome back to IndyCar Central and Versus, presented by Verizon, as we get ready for the 37th Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. While we have a moment, check out select Macy's and participating Honda dealers to enter the Civic Racing Style Sweepstakes. You could win a Civic X Coupe and Izod Macy's shopping spree, or tickets to the Izod IndyCar World Championship in Las Vegas. Well, after finishing second to Dario Franchitti in the season opener at St. Pete, Will Power went to Barber Motorsports Park with something to prove, and the series' top road and street racer did just that, starting from the pole and leading every lap on his way to victory.
This is the 12th consecutive race on a road course that Will Power has led.
Will Power is out in front. Let's see if Dixon's going to make the move.
A moment ago, Chip Ganassi came over to Will Power's pits. The complaint was from Scott Dixon on the last restart, saying Power had chopped him off twice. They asked officials to warn Power not to do that again, and then Mr. Ganassi came down and said, if your guy does that again, I'm going to tell my guy just to take him out.
The battle up front here at Barber Motorsports Park gets closer and closer. It's just a Sunday afternoon drive for Will Power. Will Power goes to victory lane.
I know he came up beside me, and did something. I was like, what, dude? I mean, what was I doing wrong? I was just starting. I was maintaining speed, and I don't know what he was complaining about.
We were told in the drivers' meeting that the left lane has to be left of the center line. He was in the right of the center line. You know, I was pretty much on the grass in some of those restarts. So, you know, he was doing it to keep on the clean side of the track, but you can't have the inside and the clean side of the track. It's not how it works.
And our pole sitter again, and the winner last week is with us here on our set, Will Power. We heard some of that piece, you couldn't hear it, but I'm getting the sense that a lot of drivers have been angry with you at different times. What's going on?
I don't know. I guess I'm winning. Yeah, I mean, I think yesterday Scott Dixon was on a lap, and I got out of his way as quick as I could, and, you know, I'm sorry. I hate when that happens to me. So, you know, he may have made it to the fast 6 if I hadn't been there.
I guess you talked to Scott yesterday?
I saw him this morning and apologized. He said, I know it doesn't make a difference now, but sorry, man. Like, I didn't see him till he was in the corner. Then I moved out of the way as quick as I could.
We're developing some rivalries in this sport, though. What's the biggest rival you have right now?
It's probably Dixon. He's complaining about me a lot, you know, after the race last week. I don't understand what he's talking about, because we are racing after the start-finish line. He's talking about me crowding him, but you know, that's racing. It's going to be tight, and I believe that he's going to be one of the championship contenders this year. So, you know, he's trying to put the pressure on.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question that people keep asking me, and I don't have the best answer other than, well, he's just really good. But why are you so much quicker than everybody else on road and street courses?
I'm not that much quicker. I mean, it was less than a tenth yesterday.
Relatively speaking.
I mean, and Dixon in qualifying last week actually had the quickest time. So you just got to put it all together. It's these cars. I'm very used to them. Got a great team and a great crew, and we try to get it right every week, which we have so far.
All right, you won the final Champ Car race here in 08, and you've been close since then. What would it mean to win today with this field? This is as competitive as we've seen it in a long time.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is the tightest field in IndyCar history, and I've been knocking on the door here every year. We just got to get it all right. I think, you know, a bit of luck plays in here. You have to get the yellows to fall for you the right way, and for me, if there's no yellows, it's perfect. And you got the double file restarts to weigh into the equation.
Well, he can control those, though. Will Power starts on the pole for the third time to start the season, the first to do that in IndyCar since Mario Andretti in 1987. Will, thanks for coming up. Have a good day today.
Thank you very much.
Well, after today's race, you can catch a race recap featuring Will Power and the IZOD IndyCar Series on your Verizon mobile phone. Will is the points leader as we go into round number 3 and picks up an extra point for the pole. He and Dario Franchitti have the advantage right now. Everybody else is still in the mix, but even though it's early, I think we could say that after today, you start to see things shake out a little bit more in the championship. Well, fans continue to pour in here at Long Beach, truly one of the great venues in the sport. Over in the Fan Village, you can take part in a number of interactive events, check out racing exhibits, or even catch up with a driver. And in Southern California, there's no shortage of cool cars. Over at the Mother's Polish Exotic Paddock, take a look at these cars, which have come out in their Sunday best. Not a bad way to arrive in the Grand Prix in style. And speaking of style, Robin Miller's got some of his very own, and he joins me on stage to discuss some of the recent events in the IZOD IndyCar Series.
We need some hate in this series, and we're starting to develop some. It's only race 2.
I think Elio misjudges braking by about a football field.
Right now, I was just hit by Simone.
Well, that's a ton of rate, you know, you're going to get that. It wasn't a passing zone, and he drove straight into me.
If you can't get the first one right, then surely they're not going to get the second one right, so.
You run a good race, you run a third, fourth, and you got to go put yourself on the outside with a bunch of...
I was like, what, dude? I mean, what was I doing wrong?
That's what happens, you know, we try to start so close together. It's great for the fans, but no good for me today.
Getting closer to the start of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Thanks for joining us. Our IndyCar insider, Robin Miller, joins us now on the set. Robin, you don't hate everything and everybody, do you?
I don't, Kevin, but what I hate to see is I hate to see all these guys hugging everybody and things like that, which we've seen through the years.
AJ Ford, Mario Parnelli, they didn't hug each other. They wanted to kick each other's butt. And what we got more and more of is more people trying to, well, I didn't really mean it. I really wasn't that upset with this guy. Well, sure they were. Show it. We need a bad guy in this series. More than anything, we need a bad guy. Well, who could it be? Right now, it could be Will Power. Dixon's mad at him. Briscoe's mad at him. Dario's kind of got a little bone to pick. But he drives for Penske. Penske don't want no drivers being bad guys. No black suits. He had Paul Tracy. He could have been a bad guy. So probably the best rivalry might be within the team before the season's over with Briscoe and Castro Neves and Power. And then the two Ganassi guys don't like him. But we need more guys being in the mix to win races to really have rivalries.
All right, that mic doesn't work. You can go and set it on the table, and we'll just continue talking amongst ourselves here now. All right, yesterday Dan Weldon unveiled his sponsor, William Rast. He's going to be in the 98 car, which is special to IndyCar historians. Troy Ruttman, Parnelli Jones. What else has Dan got going beyond the 500?
It sounds like that the IndyCar Series has decided Brian Herter is going to be the test team for the 2012 car, and they want somebody that can go ring the car out. There's a current driver, and I think Weldon's going to get that job. So finally you're going to get, when Champ Car had a new car in 2007, they had Roberto Marino. He did a good job, but he wasn't driving every day. Now, Weldon, even though he doesn't have a full-time ride, he's been driving cars and been a champion. So they're going to get somebody that's current, somebody that's fast, and ring it out. And I think the real thing right now is some teams say we want to be the test team, but they need to have somebody that's not got any skin in the game right now. And Brian Herter is just an Indy 500 guy only, so he can test the car, and it'll be fair for everybody.
All right, it's time for what's going to soon be America's favorite game, Inside the Helmet, with Robin Miller. At random, we pick a picture of a driver, and Robin opines on said driver for a little while.
J.R. Hildebrand. Here's the thing about Hildebrand. This guy's won in everything he's been in. He's been nowhere so far. What he can't do is get down on himself. And don't listen to John Barnes beat on you. Listen to Chris Maurer and listen to your engineer. You're going to be just fine.
Next up, we have Graham Rahal.
All right. Dario Franchitti says I'm his PR man because I'm always promoting him. He's got to start winning some races. Yes, he's with a new team. Yes, it's a Ganassi satellite team, but this guy's got the talent to do it. We need him and Marco Andretti to start winning races and start beating on each other because they could be our best rivalry.
Okay, just time for two today. We will work on expanding this segment as we continue on. Let's get down now to the Izod Pit Performance Center with Marty Snyder.
You know, Kevin, it used to be that in the old days, drivers would settle arguments with their fist outside back of the fence. In the last 5 or 10 years, it became the phone. They would call each other on Monday. Well, now what do? When they're having an argument, they tweet each other.
This is what happened.
This is what happened last week. Ryan Hunter-Reay tweeting to Ryan Briscoe, hey, I was radioed by my team. Penske guys had told Ryan Briscoe to let me go. I was on reds. He was not saving fuel like them. And then Ryan tweeted back, said, I'm moving on a positive note. I thought the restarts were awesome. It was fun racing today. There was also one from Paul Tracy about Ryan Briscoe and the Ryan Hunter-Reay incident. And there was another one from Paul Tracy to our own Robin Miller, where he said, hey, it's easy for you to talk about loving these restarts. You don't have to pay for all these car parts that are having to be replaced. So, Robin, you said you always wanted hate in the series. Do you and Tracy need to tweet each other and make up?
What Tracy doesn't understand is a lot of car owners have spent a hell of a lot of money on Paul Tracy through the years.
Yeah, exactly,
Marty.
right?
So the most important thing is I don't care what the drivers think. I care what the fans think and the people that watch TV think. They like double file restarts. Keep them forever. And PT can afford go-kart parts, but he can't afford IndyCar parts because he took a pay cut.
Hey, I totally agree with you, but in case you guys do need to make up, just remember, tweet them. Everything will be okay, I promise.
All right. If I could learn how to use that computer, I will.
If you could learn how to tweet, that's the key, right?
I can barely speak.
All right, we're going to get to the booth guys coming up in just a moment. Bob Jenkins, Wally Dallenbach Jr., Jan Beekes, working our way towards a green flag from Long Beach on Versus.
When you talk about Indy cars, there are pretty much two races that keep in mind. It's like Indy 500 and Long Beach race.
The cool bit about it is all the history. You know, I remember seeing footage of the Formula 1 cars racing there, IndyCar racing there just 20 years ago.
I remember going to that race as a kid and watching the Andrettis win there and watching my heroes at the time do really well at Long Beach.
Both my father and grandfather have had a lot of success there, more than Indianapolis. So for me, it's just trying to, again, do the same.
If you win in Long Beach, it's kind of like you win one of the big ones.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, he will not be denied as he adds his name to the list of great drivers who have won here.
I can't tell you how special it was to win there last year. It was absolutely amazing.
I just can't wait to do it again.
If you are a driver in the Eyes on IndyCar series, Long Beach is where you want to be today to try to join the list of winners of this prestigious event, which reads like a who's who of open wheel racing. 6 drivers in today's field have at least one win here, but all 27 in today's field are hoping they can be under the checkered flag first today and win the 37th Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Hi again, everyone. Bob Jenkins along with Jan Beekes on my far left and Wally Dallenbach. Well, we're 2,043 miles away from where we were last Sunday at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. That was a natural terrain road course. Today we're on the streets of Long Beach, California. So, Wally, what challenges do the drivers face?
There's a lot here. But I think the biggest thing is you have to minimize your mistake or capitalize on somebody else's mistake. This is a very difficult place to get set up for. It's really hard. You really charge the corners here under braking. There's a lot of guys that had to abandon the corners because they couldn't make it. There's a lot of guys that just blew it, made some mistakes and spun out. Another thing you got to watch here is the curbs. Once you start using up your tires, if you hit those curbs too hard, it knocks you offline and it puts you in the tire. So I think the biggest key here, track position is everything, and it's so difficult to pass anyway, but you're just going to have to minimize those mistakes and just really focus and stay clean.
And while you're talking about bumpy braking zones, anytime you have bumpy braking zones, what does that mean? What it means, passing opportunities. And I think there's as many as 5 passing opportunities you can find here around Long Beach. And that's a good thing, because during the pre-race show, we heard from people who were fast that didn't qualify well. Dario Franchitti, Scott Dixon for the 2nd year in the row, out of the top 6. They'll be fast. You heard Dario say, best car I've had in a long time. Then you drop back, Ryan Briscoe, fastest in all the practices until you got to qualifying, starting 12th. He'll be charging, then go all the way to the back. Sebastian Bourdais, he's won 3 times, he's in 21st, and then Paul Tracy. He said at the opening of the show, I'm going to take it easy in turn 1. I'm not so sure.
Okay, the weather is a lot different today than it has been the last couple of days. We've had sunshine and a lot of warmth. Today it's overcast and kind of cool. A setup different for the cars?
I'm not sure about the setup, but it's going to take a little bit longer to get heat in the tires, and that's going to be the challenge for all these guys. Is once they come in, even if after a caution, is to get the heat in the tires, because without the heat in the tires, you don't have any grip, so you've got a lot of sliding around.
Drivers are being paraded around the racetrack here as we are just minutes away from the command to start the engines as the drivers get into their cars and we get set to go here on a Sunday afternoon. That is always a wonderful, wonderful place to come to, I should say. Long Beach really, really goes all out for this event. Open wheel drivers who have gone on to win the championship. Paul Tracy in 2003. Sebastian Bourdais won here 3 times in a row, 2005, 5, 6, and 7. And Dario Franchitti won here at Long Beach in 2009 and went on to win the IZOD IndyCar Championship. Let's go down for the opening ceremonies on pit side.
Colors presented by the Centurion Battalion, a Session Task Force of the California Army National Guard. We got them on the right side of the track. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please stand and remember to remove your hats. It's time for our national anthem to be sung today by Air National Guard Band of the Southwest member, home of the 146th Airlift Wing, Channel Island Air National Guard Station, California. I'll introduce Technical Sergeant Aaron McPherson.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, the pace begins to quicken. The fans are in their seats in the grandstands. The teams are ready, and the drivers soon will be. The command to start engines coming up in just a few moments. Thanks for joining us for IndyCar Central on Versus, presented by Verizon. It's a beautiful setting here on the shores of the Pacific Ocean in Long Beach, California. The Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach set to go in just the next few minutes. Kind of cloudy, kind of hazy. There was some marine fog that moved in earlier, but things are looking much brighter right now. Danica Patrick getting strapped into her race car. 85 laps of competition here this afternoon, a total of 167 miles of competition. Cars lined up 2 by 2 in pit lane right now, but soon they'll be moving out to take a couple of laps of warm-ups before we get to the starting flag. Open wheel host, Indianapolis has hosted open wheel racing 94 times, but second on that list is right here in Long Beach with 27. As the booth shakes.
That was pretty awesome right there. Wow.
It was a little late, but wow, that was awesome. That was a low flyover I thought was going to shake us out of the booth. But we're good as far as the starting of the race is concerned. It's going to be on time. Let's get out to Robin Miller with some thoughts before we get the green flag here.
Boys, Paul Tracy's making his first start of the year. This is a front nose on most cars, but for Tracy it's called the chrome horn. And it's people get out of his way, and I heard Jan say earlier Paul was going to take it easy going to the first turn. Yeah, sure he is. He ain't going to take it easy. He's going to be Paul Tracy and be aggressive. Lindy?
Oriol Servia says it's great to add some blue to the front of the starting grid instead of the red cars he has been seeing for years. He is starting fourth for Newman Haas today, a team that used to dominate this place. The team has won more races at Long Beach than any other, 6. Oriol's best finish here is second in 07. He said if he and the team can combine their success stories today, they can get to the top. Marty?
Lindy, race car drivers usually don't want to drive with emotion, but you can't blame Ryan Briscoe if he's a little upset as he climbs in the car right behind me. The first 2 races this year, he was taken out not by his own doing, by other people involving incidents. Here in qualifying this weekend, he was blocked during his qualifying lap after having one of the fastest cars all weekend. He will start 12th today. I talked to him moments ago before he climbed in. He said, I know I have to be aggressive to get to the front from here, but I also have to be cautious. We have to remember we're 21st in the point standings. We have to have a solid day, finish on the podium. That's what we need more than anything else. Bob?
And Marty, I really think that when you are at a points deficit, it just changes the way you attack. And I think that Ryan Briscoe, he knows it has to be risk versus reward, but he's got to be in attack mode.
Hey, Robin Miller, you still down there?
Right here, Wally.
I want to start this right off the right way. You pointed out the front nose. can you show me the rear nose?
Attaboy, Wally.
Hey, Wally, I flunked out of Ball State. Cut me some slack, son.
And we should say
I love you, buddy.
I was quoting Paul Tracy saying he was going to take it easy. Robin, you and I are on the same page. We do not expect that to be the case.
But just
Jan, here's the thing, Jan. He's got no spares. That's the only nose they got. That's the only car they got. So he actually might be a tamer, gently Paul Tracy.
Well, Elio Castroneves is ready. We're going to work on a short break here before we get the command and get this thing rolling here in Long Beach, the Toyota Grand Prix. They are on top of the roofs. They are hanging out their condominiums. They are everywhere looking for this start of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Let's go down for the command to get this event underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Grand Marshal Gordon Ramsay with the command at Long Beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, please start your engines.
Clear now. Hopefully it'll work. Telemetry, everyone's good on our end. Station pack. One side, twice side. There will be 5. Pack, radios. Jane, can you hear me?
Ahead of these drivers, Honda's fastest seat in motorsports. Very popular sweepstakes. This season you'll have 6 chances to win. You can log on to shophonda.com to enter. And this week's lucky winner is Alan Haley. Alan, can you hear me up in the booth?
I sure can, Bob.
Hey, Alan, how's it going?
This is awesome.
You're pumped for the ride around before the start, huh?
I'm really, really pumped. Honda and IndyCar and Isaiah are awesome.
Did you ever think that you'd win when you entered the contest?
Never. Always hoped.
Have you ever been to the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach before?
My first trip.
And what a way to see the beginning of it, huh?
That's right. It'll be hard to top this.
Alan, have a good ride.
Thanks, Bob.
By logging on to shophonda.com, Alan won the opportunity to start today's race in the Izod two-seater, and it is being driven again this week by Al Unser Jr., who has a remarkable, hello Al, has a remarkable record here at this facility, but taking Alan Haley on the ride today. They're leading the field along this 1.968 mile track, on board with Will Power, who won the pole again here at Long Beach. The third consecutive time that he has won the pole for an Izod IndyCar Series race this year. A rather easy win again for Power, and a $10,000 check from Peak Performance goes to Will Power. Now, have there ever been drivers that won 3 consecutive poles to open the season? Yes, as a matter of fact, there now have been 7. Foyt in 65, Andretti, Unser, Rutherford, Mears, and Andretti again, and now Will Power. Will adding his list to a name to a very impressive list of race drivers.
It takes about 24 years to do it, but
Okay, Jan, let's go around this 1.968 mile racetrack.
From those aerials, you got a little bit of an idea that obviously it's on city streets, the main being Shoreline Drive, just under 2 miles. Here, coming into turn 1, just over 170 miles an hour, and you can see highlighted in red, an awesome place to pass. Another place you want to keep an eye on is at the end of the back straightaway. That's almost 170 again, right here. Hard on the brakes in turn number 9. And then, of course, the signature turn less than 30 miles an hour, 28, 29 miles an hour. You get all the way down to first gear in turn 11. Now, from a strategy standpoint today, this is the kind of race that you want, and that is big pit windows. You could drive anywhere from 27 to 30 laps on a tank. In other words, if you're saving a little bit of fuel, you could get to 30. If you're really on it, it would be 27. Look what that does for the pit windows. That gives you the opportunity. Anytime you see big splits there, that means lots of opportunities for different pit strategy, and of course, makes it an easy two-stop race. Marty? Kevin?
John Cesanicus has been with Newman Haas for many years, and he will call the strategy for Oriol Servia, who will start fourth. Well, we know it's a simple two-stop strategy, but that doesn't mean that you get to take the day off. What things are you dealing with today? What are you thinking about?
Well, I mean, like you said, it's going to be a two-stop, and we're just going to basically, where we're starting in a good position of fourth, we're just going to try to keep our nose clean and just run with the leaders and kind of do what everybody else is doing in front of us. So we hope, Long Beach can be a crash fest at times, so we hope we get through all the incidents and can bring the car home in one piece.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Look for the Telemundo car. Marty, over to you.
Well, Kevin, this front row should be very interesting at the IZOD Performance Pit Center. And I talked to Will Power moments ago. Whoops, I'm moving Ryan Hunter-Reay there. I talked to him moments ago, and he said he knows what Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to do at the start of this race. He said, I heard him say he's going to be very aggressive today, and I know he's going to be that. He said, no doubt, going into turn one, it'll be a game of chicken. I'm not going to lift because I know how bad I need that lead once we get out of turn one. He's going to be aggressive going on the outside. It should be a lot of fun. Lindy?
We were talking earlier about how the weather is affecting setups here. Elio Castroneves stopped me before we were coming out here and said, hey, we had to add 100 pounds of downforce because of this weather, but he said now the car feels fantastic, it feels great. Another part of their strategy, they picked the very first pit box because he said we do not want to be caught in any mess.
And one point that Marty was making about the front row and what Ryan Hunter-Reay is talking about versus Will Power. On Anna Beatrice.
And that's talking about the tires earlier in our stand-up about it's so difficult to get heat in these tires right now the way the weather is, and I bet she was just warming her tires up and it spun around.
Wow, kind of an embarrassing moment for Anna Beatrice.
Yep, that's all it was.
Oh, and didn't hit anything, thank goodness.
And when she puts her hand in the air and puts it in a circle, that means I need a restart.
Keep doing that signal that you need started.
That's to tell the corner workers that I do not. They need to know the difference between trying to select reverse and if it needs restarting. The Homacho safety team has starters on board. The cars do not, so they'll get this refired.
And that's going to be, unless this place warms up considerably, that's going to be an issue after the pit stops. These guys come, they put fresh tires on the car, they come out of pit lane, and you got to get going. And it takes a lap or two to get the temperature into these tires. And as you can see, there's not much room for error on this place. You got walls on both sides of it.
To add insult to injury, they got her fired up, and then she stalled it. They're desperately trying to get her out quickly before the lead cars come by.
Yeah, she's fired again, and now begins to move away.
Ooh, just in time.
Oh, just ahead of the pace car and the rest of the field. On board with Oriol Servia in that Newman Haas car, and they have won more races at this facility than any other team owner. Here is J.R. Hildebrand in the National Guard car, starting back in 27, penalized during qualifying, so he starts scratch on the field. Here's Ryan Briscoe. As Jan said earlier, he was the quickest in all the practices, but will start in 12th position today. Here's Tony Kanaan, 2 top 10 finishes this year. He will start in 10th position here this afternoon for KB Racing Technology in the Geico-sponsored car. Justin Wilson has a 5th starting position. He's a teammate with Anna Beatrice. Will Power is the pole setter once again.
And just before Anna Beatrice had her spin, I was setting up the start, and Will Power is going to go on the left. Ryan Hunter-Reay on the right. All the drivers saying the right lane is shorter distance and has better grip. So that what Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to try and do is out-drag him down that straightaway.
Well, let's see how they get lined up 2 by 2 as they come off corner number 11. Only about the first 3 rows are in formation. It's kind of a staggered and stretched out start.
Oh, Hunter-Reay's taking
a
look. Not enough.
Nope. Will Power is going to lead the way into turn number 1 with Ryan Hunter-Reay right behind him.
That was not the way that they drew it up, but that was in one way what the drivers were hoping for. That was to have a little more spread out start here, but they had drawn it up. They wanted to have a lot more rows together and closer, but the good news is, at least as far as we can see, everybody threw cleanly.
That was about the same way we saw the start for the Firestone Indy Lights race that you saw earlier this afternoon here on Versus, won by Connor Daly. Mike Conway running 3rd, Oriole Servia running in 4th spot, and Justin Wilson running 5th as they come between turns 8 and 9. Everybody in single file formation. This is a very tricky part of the racetrack. Turn number 10, and then the hairpin, the final turn, leading on to the front stretch once again.
Yeah, I will. Just keep working that skill. You had a good start. Let's just hang in there. Long race.
You cannot win the race on the first lap, but you certainly can't lose it. And I'm hoping that drivers will heed those words. They're the 2 Ganassi cars. They're running back in 7th and 8th position. Let's take a look at the replay once again and watch Will Power now from his pole position.
Well, he was he was where he was supposed to be.
Yes,
That's the lane that he chose. It was Ryan Hunter-Reay who was not on his side of the racetrack.
If that would have been one of the older style single file restarts, that would be considered blocking, but he chose the left-hand side of the racetrack. That was totally his. He can drive over there. He chose it. He has a right to it.
I agree.
This race has been won from the front row 16 times, 8 from the pole and 8 from second position. Right now, first and second are Will Power and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
You did see Graham Rahal was peeking a look down into turn number 9. That's the first start of moves that we start to see of people coming up through the field.
Yeah, they're just starting to get some temperature, not only in their tires, but also their brakes. I think everybody was just kind of tiptoeing around here for the first couple laps. You see Hunter-Reay making some ground here on Will Power right now.
Closing in quickly on the rear wing of the Verizon car. Paul Tracy gained a position on the start, so did J.R. Hildebrand, Sebastian Bourdais, Sebastian Saavedra, and Graham Rahal.
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay said he needs to figure out what kind of cereal Will Power is eating because he wants to start having it for breakfast as well. They came in with a little bit of a different car this year than last year. Remember, he started second and then won. They've developed it. He said it's working for him. Obviously, starting second it is. He's also happy for Mike Conway, his teammate, who started third. Marty?
Right in front of him, Will Power, and I'm sure he's not going to give away the cereal that he eats every morning, Lindy, because he doesn't want to give away his secrets. This is the same exact car and engine he has used for every race this year. It's not scheduled to be overhauled, the engine that is, until after Brazil. Earlier this week, they had some cooling problems on this engine. They changed the ductwork on this car to make it a little bit better. Since then, no problems, but they would love for it to stay a little bit on the cooler side today.
Coming down to complete lap number 4 of 85 as we jump on board with Tony Kanaan, who's running in 10th position. Remember, last weekend at Barber Motorsports Park, he gained 10 spots on the first lap, starting from the rear of the field, had a much better starting spot today.
And this shot gives you a good idea how rough this place is. Certainly, coming up to a lot of the corners. Right there, how rough it is.
And he's getting some heat from behind from James Hinchcliffe. You say, oh, hang on a minute, that's not Hinchcliffe's colors. That's because he is driving the spare car for Oriole Servia after having a fire with that car on Friday.
Pound the curbs here, too.
160 on this straightaway, down to second gear, turn 9.
James Hinchcliffe was pretty happy with the car this morning. He said he didn't think they would make any changes from what they sent into the morning warm-up. He said, though, it was a little bit difficult to tell exactly what they had because it was so cool this morning. Today is a little closer to the conditions that we've had throughout the weekend, but still cooler than what we saw on Friday and Saturday.
In 6 tries here at Long Beach, Tony Kanaan's best finish was 3rd in 2009. The leader of the race is Will Power. Once again, Ryan Hunter-Reay earning in 2nd spot. Last year, the Sao Paulo Indy 300 was the first race of the series, and we had a calamity at the start of the event. This year, it is the 4th race on the schedule, but Versus will be there live Sunday, May 21st at noon Eastern. The IZOD IndyCar Series continuing May 1st from the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Down to Marty Snyder.
Well, guys, back in the field, Ryan Briscoe started 12th, and you saw Anna Pitt right there, and now she's coming back out on the track right now. Briscoe started 12th. He is still running 12th, and if you'll notice, he is running the primary tires. Everybody in front of him are running the red tires, the softer red tires. That's very much on purpose for Ryan Briscoe. The reason because of that is they want to do the opposite of what everybody else does. They want to gain track position in their second stint. So the theory is put the blacks on first and then hold everybody off. Then in the second stint, when everybody else puts on the primary tire, you'll have on red tires. That's when Ryan Briscoe plans to do his passing. So right now, they're very happy to still be running 12th on these primary tires.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Marty. And he's running about 2 seconds slower than the leader, but you know what? That may work out for him. Watch some of the telemetry here. Full throttle up the straightaway. See the mile per hour on the left. Hard braking coming up here. This is a 2nd gear corner to your left. Get through the gears really, really quick. And you can see how busy this place is. And don't forget, he's on the harder tire, so he's probably working a little bit harder than everybody else because he's got a little bit less grip than the guys that are on the reds.
And you saw around the fountain that he went down to 1st gear. There's 2 places you use 1st gear, the fountain and then, of course, the hairpin, down to 28 miles an hour. Now, the interesting thing, if you do go with the Firestone Blacks, there is a pretty big spread between the speed of the 2 of them. Firestone is trying to get a bigger spread this year to try and shake up the competition. So if he's not getting blown by people right now and he's on the Firestone Blacks, this strategy may work well.
Ryan Briscoe in 12th position. Up ahead of him is James Hinchcliffe. The movers at this stage of the race, Sebastian Bourdais has picked up 2 spots to 19th, and also J.R. Hildebrand has gained 2. Back up front, the first 3 run pretty close together, and Mike Conway staying right with Hunter-Reay and Power.
They really are. I mean, Ryan Hunter-Reay is not letting Will Power get out of his sights.
One of the reasons why he wants to push Will Power is that Will Power has been the master of the single lap. But Will has been having a little bit of trouble with rear grip when he gets on the power, especially coming off the hairpin. What a great vantage point to see how you have the city streets, how you're going past the hotel on the right-hand side, the convention center, then changing streets. That's why it's bumpy. You're going from side streets to larger streets, concrete, underneath parking garages. It is an awesome place. It just gives you such a sense of speed because you have so many things just whizzing by you through these tight canyons.
That was turn 9. This is turn 10. And now the hairpin right-hander, turn number 11. 10 laps completed. This is the 13th consecutive road course race that Will Power has led.
And so what Ryan Hunter-Reay, and they're giving him the intervals on the radio, if he can keep some pressure on Power from that overhead shot coming off of the hairpin, you got a great example. It's like a drag strip. And Will Power has to be very careful with the throttle and just ease off there and not light up the rear tires. If you have somebody right on you, you can't do that. You got to go for it.
And Jan, for the 2nd week in a row, Will Power has John Erickson making the calls for him. Clive Howell will be back at Brazil in a couple of weeks. Well, Will has asked John to tell him, let me know when Ryan Hunter-Reay is using his overtake button. Ryan Hunter-Reay has used 2 of those. Will Power only 1, and that was on the start of the race.
There's John Erickson. Mike Conway running back in 3rd position. This is Mike's 3rd race here at the Long Beach Grand Prix. He finished 21st 2 years ago and 10th last year. and this guy has been involved in incidents early on in the race several times, and you just really wonder when he's going to put together a race in which he finishes up front. This could very well be that weekend.
Remember, Bob, that Mike Conway had that contact with Danica back at Barber, and he is in his backup car this weekend. He's pretty happy considering the last couple days he's had here. It was pretty difficult, but then he, is qualifying. He qualified third, was very happy with the changes in the car, wasn't expecting it, but he'll take it. Stay with us. We will be back with more from the Indy Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Sun starting to come out here in Long Beach, California. Beautiful Sunday afternoon and a beautiful drive so far for Will Power as we take you through the field at the Toyota Long Beach Grand Prix. Will Power up front, trying to lead every lap again for the second straight week. The last time in the IndyCar Series that was done, Dan Gurney in June of 1968. So Will Power trying for a little history today. This morning the car had a little bit of understeer. They have fixed that with a couple of changes. Almost perfect right now, Lindy.
Ryan Hunter-Reay must be happy with his car because he is not saying a word. This guy loves this place. He met his fiancée Becky Gordon here. They got engaged here. This is his favorite track because it was the favorite track of his late mother who died of cancer, and he races in her honor. Behind him is teammate Mike Conway. After his crash at Indy last year, he said he feels better and stronger than ever this season. He is thrilled to be a part of this Andretti Autosport team. The only thing his strategist Tom Anderson has told him is good job on fuel, Mike.
Oriol Servia started fourth. He is running in fourth. They're telling him that the times are real good considering the tires he's on. He started on scuffed reds, one of the few that started this race on the scuffed red tires. Marty?
Justin Wilson's weekend didn't get off to a very good start. He had an overheating taxi that barely made it to his hotel, fought brake issues Friday and Saturday in this car, and right before qualifying, they finally got it right, and he told me the car is about the best one I've ever had here at Long Beach. That's a pretty good statement from Justin Wilson, considering he's finished second here twice, Lindy.
Elio Castroneves in the number 3 car. He started 6th. He says his car is better on reds than the blacks, but overall, his ride feels great. You remember James Davidson, a lights driver. He doesn't have a ride this year. He's been doing some driver coaching. He came with Team Penske. He's been watching from the track all different perspectives and telling Elio and the rest of the team some ideas on where they may be able to improve on their time. Marty.
Lindy Dario Franchitti told me this morning, he said, we have had to work on this car this weekend. It has not been easy, but it was the best it had been all weekend. In morning warm-up today, he said, I honestly think we have a good chance to win this race if we can just get to the front towards the end of it. That's the biggest key right now for both of those Ganassi cars. You see his teammate, Scott Dixon, right behind him. Dixon has never finished on the podium here at Long Beach, and he told me, when I think about my career, the one thing that's missing, a win at Long Beach. Both of these Ganassi guys would love to see themselves on the podium, if not in victory lane today.
And there you have the top 8 as they run. In 9th position right now is Alex Tagliani, Kevin.
He started 9th. He's running 9th right now. He's been told to try to stay with Scott Dixon and get good mileage right now. They tried a few different things during the weekend, but always kept coming back to the original setup. It's worked the best. Lindy?
Tony Kanaan joined this KV team 6 days before the season started. Although he'd seen engineer Michael Cannon around the paddock since '96, that's when they met for the first time. After the morning warm-up, he said the car feels decent. It's pretty well balanced. They had some radio issues when he first got in the car taking the warm-up laps. Everything seemed to be okay now. They did tell him, if you cannot pass, save fuel.
Good second run so far for James Hinchcliffe. He is running in 11th. That's where he started. He told me this morning that even though it's a 2-stop race, you can still find an advantage by saving a little bit of fuel. If you can go 1 lap longer than everybody else, you're going to pick up some spots, and he was reminded of that just a little while ago, Marty.
Kevin, we documented Ryan Briscoe on the primary tires, and he is doing his best. In fact, that's what he told Roger Penske on the radio. I'm doing all I can to hold these guys off back here, but if this works, it will pay off again in that second stint. The car a little bit loose for Ryan right now, but he's hanging on, Kevin.
Vitor Mira will be taking the red-eye home to Miami tonight. His wife, Adriana, could deliver any day now. She's scheduled to go tomorrow, expecting a baby girl, which will be named Juliana. Sebastian Saavedra runs next. He's in the 14th position right now. This is the happiest he's been in his 3 races this year in his first full-time season. He's also had Roberto Guerrero with him on the pit stand, a fellow Colombian and a longtime family friend. So far, so good for Sebastian Saavedra.
Graham Rahal next in line. Certainly was hoping for much better. Now taking a look here on Saavedra.
Yeah, Saavedra looks like he's struggling a little bit. He went wide on a couple of corners before, and he went wide right there. Rahal jumped all over him.
Behind Rahal is E.J. Viso. Here he comes out of the corner.
I believe Rahal might be close enough to try something down in turn 1. And he is. He's going to take a look. Yep.
Graham Rahal passes Sebastian Saavedra and goes to 14th position. Well, we wish the best to Vitor and wife tomorrow. We are approaching the pit window, probably around 10 more laps from now. We should see pit stops being made if we stay green until that time. Up front, still close, first, second, and third, Power, Hunter Ray, and Conway. When the bugle calls, we will answer with all the stories that make the Triple Crown come alive. Coverage of the Kentucky Derby begins May 4th here on Versus. You can watch the race itself May 7th on NBC. Well, you saw on our non-stop that Danica Patrick lost a couple of positions there. Simona Di Silvestro among those getting by. So Danica Patrick moves back to 21st. Rafael Matos also got around.
And in this group, we have a kind of a sprinkling of those that are trying black versus red. Same type of strategy. And that's Charlie Kimball to the inside of Sato and gets it done.
And so Charlie Kimball moves up to 23rd and Takuma Sato back 22nd, that is, and Sato back to 23rd.
Paul Tracy nipping at the heels of this group in the white Ralph's car. And you heard him early in the show hoping to run 5 with Jay Penske in that car, then switching teams for the Indy 500.
Yep. Running for Dreyer Reinbold during the Indianapolis 500 this year. 42 entries, by the way, for the 500 this year. 5 former winners in the field. We, of course, will have non-stop coverage of qualifying. On board with J.R. Hildebrand. He's at 26th spot.
One of the bumpy braking zones here. Paul Tracy right ahead.
Whoa, a little bit sideways there. Just amazing how even everybody is these days in IndyCar racing.
J.R. Hildebrand is no stranger to this racetrack. This is his first Eyes on IndyCar Series race, but he has competed here in Firestone Indy Lights, in Toyota Atlantics, and in the ALMS, the American Le Mans Series.
Looks like he's got a little bit of oversteer in that car right now, the way it is. Really have to crank the wheel around that corner. I mean, it's just lock to lock.
Take one hand off, swing it all the way around. Again, as we said, 28 miles an hour, slowest corner on the circuit by far.
Got to be impressed with Mike Conway, who's running in 3rd position and not letting Ryan Hunter-Reay or Will Power get very far ahead. The separation back to 3rd place Conway is just a little more than 1 second.
+6 on Serbia, +6.
You're sitting here in this pack right here, Don. I mean, really, you're just waiting for somebody to make one little mistake so you can capitalize on it. Because all these 3 cars are running so close right now. They're so even. It just takes one little bobble, and you can pick up that position or lose it if you're the one that makes the bobble.
There are the 4 Andretti Autosport drivers, and where are they running? Including 2nd and 3rd for Ryan Hunter-Reay and Mike Conway. Will Power's the leader now. We're going to take a break before pit stops here at Long Beach. Justin Wilson spins in turn number 11 and loses a lot of track position. We go down to Marty Snyder.
And Ryan Briscoe hits pit road, and they were hoping for a yellow flag to come out here. Ryan comes to pit road, no changes. It is 4 tires, and those are the sticker reds that we talked about, trying to make their time in this segment. Also, Tony Kanaan and Alex Tagliani coming to pit road under the caution here. That helps out a bunch.
Well, Marty, they were hoping for a full course caution. It turns out they came in on a local. They would have driven by Justin Wilson. So let's first find out what happened to Justin Wilson. Remember, he has that wrist fracture. And I think
we thought for a while.
I think he got tagged. I bet you if we have a different angle, I think he may have gotten some help on that one.
It looked like it jarred, but then I didn't see anybody go by. But it was a case where those people that just pitted would have driven by Justin Wilson sideways, and the teams would have been taking a gamble, saying they're probably going to go full course caution, let's get in, and it turned out that he was able to back up.
And here's the other look, Wally.
Castro Neves.
My golly, you are right.
I saw that same bump, but they cleared around the outside.
Bullets drop Justin Wilson back to 13th position. Here comes Danica Patrick.
Ooh, we get some more
and Paul
trouble
Tracy
back
just got by James Jakes coming off the hairpin.
They've been fighting. Oh, and Simona De Silvestro is spun in turn 11. And now we have a full course caution. Full course caution. The leaders come through turn number 11.
I think that still works out for Briscoe.
Now it will.
Go to E mode.
So anyone who pitted, it looked like it wasn't going to work, but now before anyone else had a chance to pit, you get a full course caution. Those people who pitted now are going to get a nice bonus.
Kanaan was in, Tagliani was in. So all those guys are going to benefit off this yellow for just, and that's just timing. That's just, I mean, that's gambling, throwing the dice, and it working out for you. So, you know, now you're a rock star, brilliant, because it works out for you. But it could have went the other way, too.
Right.
But that's a good gamble. I mean, that's the thing about the street course racing. You never know what's going to happen.
So we're under reduced speed for the first time in this event. First caution coming out here on lap number 25 of 85. And the pace car comes out, driven by three-time Indianapolis 500 winner Johnny Rutherford. Pretty much a carnival-like atmosphere here in the streets of Long Beach as the Grand Prix, the highlight of the weekend, is 26 laps in.
I tell you what, these pits too, guys, I looking at pit lane the other day going, there's a lot of crazy things that have happened on pit lane. It's very narrow.
It's closed right now. They're still waiting for a pack-up. It's still closed right now.
We have seen contact on pit lane before during these kind of pit stops.
And it's worth reminding the three were Tagliani, Briscoe, and Kanaan were the three who dove in. That now if everyone pits ahead of them, obviously they'll cycle right to the front of the field.
Yep. Simona still can't get the car started. Pits are not open yet. They must form a tight pack before the pits can be opened, and they are not in that formation yet.
Now, before we go off of this shot, Tony Kanaan, unfortunately, you'll see he's the fourth car in line, means that he lost a lap before they went to caution, so he will not benefit from that strategy because he didn't get out in front of the leaders.
Okay.
The pace car just...
and here comes Tagliani and Briscoe. They will benefit from this.
Tagliani, just stay out.
Okay, the pits are open now.
The way this works, Bob, is that for these two cars at the back, Tagliani and Briscoe, if everyone ahead, and I would suspect that every other car will now pit, the only other question, maybe Anna Beatrice, because she came in earlier, or J.R. Hildebrand, but other than that, everyone should peel off and they just get a nice free ride up behind the pace car.
And that's the way strategy works.
And at the time, they were thinking, man, I thought they were going to go full course caution, and they didn't because Wilson was still running, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're still good. It worked.
Will Power has led all the way so far, but this pit stop is going to result in a lead change. Not on track, but we will have our second leader of the afternoon.
It's also worth noting this is the narrowest pit lane of any place these cars run all year. There's a 50-mile-per-hour speed instead of 60 because of that. But this, especially with a bend in the middle of it, this is a crazy place for pit stops when everyone comes in at once.
Pit entrance just off corner number 11. Here we go. Will Power slides off the corner, and here they come. Lindy.
A good day for Ryan Hunter-Ray as he heads down here towards his crew. He will get some Sunoco fuel, and he hits his marks perfectly for his crew. Off with the faster red tires, on with the blacks. His engineer, Ray Goslin, says he wants no changes. The car feels great. They're heading in the right direction with this setup. Kevin.
For Oriole Serva because he qualified 6th last weekend. No changes. He likes the car. He's running 4th, Marty.
Will Power already done with his pit stop. He will easily win the race off pit road. Those are scuffed black tires for Will Power. He did tell me, as Wally and Jan mentioned, he was worried about leaving the pit stall because it is so narrow here. And back up to you, whoever your names are.
Yeah, that's easy for you to say, Marty.
I know it is.
I like that.
But there's a wreck here at the end of pit road.
Oh, no.
With Marco Andretti and
Sebastian Bourdais.
Bourdais is very angry. He's motioning to Andretti in the car right now. Very upset. Very upset.
We were just talking about it, guys. I mean, this pit lane is always throwing a lot of guys in for a curve.
Yeah, it's probably my fault. I should have said something. I had no fucking idea.
Bourdais climbing out of his car. It's obviously over for both of those drivers, and we apologize for the language. Marco will come over and say a few words to Sebastian.
We heard his words. I had no idea you were there.
And that's the deal where, listen, when you're a driver in the pit, when they say go, 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 to you think you've got a clear lane.
Now what's going on?
I want him to get back in the car.
It may not be damaged. Well,
they have to just change the nose if the front suspension
wing.
isn't. But like I was saying, as a driver, you're relying on your crew to send you out after the pit stop is done. And like I said, when you get go, 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 you go. You think you're clear. So you really have to rely on your team on these pit stops, you know, when they drop the jack.
Well, he's trying to give Wilson room on the inside. He's looking to his right, giving Wilson some room as they're side by side, and he just pinches Sebastian Bourdais into the wall.
Yep. Marty Snyder.
Well, Sebastian's come behind pit wall, and what exactly happened there?
Well, they just sent Marco, and since they sent him, it just started to move and move and move, and I was on his left side, and he just told me he didn't see me. He had no idea I was there, so it's too bad. The Boy Scouts car was not so bad in this race stream today, so I was hoping for better luck.
All right, this adds to a very frustrating past couple of weeks for Sebastian Bourdais. Kevin?
Well, we had another incident just moments before that on track. Standing here in the two-pit of Oriole Servia, we saw Graham Rahal just swerve in near the pit wall as if he was pulling in for service. Unfortunately, the crew guys were still over the wall, and he clipped Todd Phillips. That's him you're seeing there. He just had his shoe off. It's his right ankle. He's doing pretty well, though, all things considered, that he was just hit by a race car. He was up taking the shoe off, looking at the ankle, but he's flexing it now, and he's going to try to hang in there.
So more than one problem on pit road for our first series of pit stops. Alex Tagliani should become the leader of this race with Ryan Briscoe second, and then Power, Hunter Ray, and Castro Neves will be shown in fifth position. There's the leader, Alex Tagliani.
Now Tagliani is on blacks, correct?
Yep,
you're right.
And Briscoe's on the red, so this could get fun.
This could be fun. We'll be back for the restart in just a moment here at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Welcome back to Long Beach and the Toyota Grand Prix, the third race of the 2011 IZOD IndyCar Series. We're under our first caution of the day. And really, the action has been on pit lane. Incidents on pit lane, not uncommon to Long Beach. In 1991, Mario pulling out. Here comes Emo, and watch what happens. Boom! And we had an incident just a few minutes ago. We had an incident on pit lane involving...
That'd be Emerson Fittipaldi.
And
Emo,
Michael,
we call him Emo.
And Michael Andretti. And of course, that was in the days where there was no speed limit. In fact, that was one of the incidents that led to having speed limits on pit lane. That was a scary one, but everyone was okay after that. But we definitely had some hot-tempered drivers. For sure.
Okay,
I think Briscoe's sitting in a very good position right here.
Yes, you have double foul restarts. You have
stickier tires.
You have the fastest lap in all of practice prior to qualifying, I think.
And you can see how hard he's working, Tagliani, on getting heat in those tires.
Oh, yeah.
He's really, all the guys on the blacks you can see are really aggressively trying to put heat in them.
Down to Kevin quickly.
All right, a couple of stories to wrap up. We mentioned Graham Rahal came into the Servia pits. Vitor Mira's crew is reporting that Rahal made contact with Mira on pit lane, so that may be why he veered off there. And they don't think there's any damage on the 14 car, though. They said Rahal simply just came straight out into the fast lane. That's the view from the 14. Lindy?
Tony Kanaan had a problem with his pit stop. They got the fuel probe stuck. They weren't sure they got all the fuel in there. They brought him back in for a splash of fuel, and also Bob Conway came in and got a splash.
Rahal in 18th, Kanaan in 23rd as we get set for the green flag as they form up in side-by-side formation, and the green flag is out. Here we go. And look at Ryan Hunter-Reay.
In third spot, Ryan Hunter-Reay had a great start.
That's Briscoe to the inside of Tag, and he takes the spot. Very narrow racetrack through here.
Oh, Castro Neves almost got into the back of his own teammate Power.
And Hunter-Reay is he's gonna have to get by Tagliani pretty quick, or Briscoe's he's gonna set sail.
Oriole Survey there in the blue number 2. He's running in 7th position.
Tagliano's holding tough right now.
Ryan Briscoe on the Firestone alternate red tires, remember. Here comes Briscoe, Alex Tagliani, then Ryan Hunter-Reay, Will Power, Elio Castroneves, Dario Franchitti in that order, 1 through 6. Single file formation here. There's Danica Patrick in the green car. She's running back in 15th position. And there's Mike Conway in the 27.
And you heard Lindy say he also stopped for a splash of fuel. That's why he's way back.
Back in 20th.
Now look at the restart here. First of all, it's worth keeping an eye on the third car, at least in this particular case, the fourth car in line. Let's go ahead and let it roll. So you're going to form yourself up into double file. And as soon as he gets himself into the spot here, and again, I think the problem here is that they're not able to get themselves all the way into line because you're so slow coming off. That's why all these starts haven't been so compressed. And here he goes to the inside for the second spot. Almost said the lead.
Ryan Hunter-Reay goes to second spot now. He begins the chase of Ryan Briscoe, who is the leader. And Alex Tagliani, who led briefly, is back to third. Let's watch Will Power in the next few laps as he moves up.
Power's on the overtake, and so is Tagliani.
Power to the inside of Alex Tagliani, and Will Power takes that spot. Power to third.
What we needed was a restart to get this thing shaken up and somebody on alternate strategy. So you've got different tires, different pit strategy. Now all of a sudden, we're getting some action from the beginning when they all strung out. We're like, come on, guys, let's get after it.
And Briscoe's really the only one on reds, I think, in the top 11 or 12 or 13 cars. So Briscoe's really got to, in order for this to work, he needs this thing to go a long ways, and he needs to put a lot of distance between him and everybody else.
You think maybe that Elio Castroneves is going to make a move on Tagliani. Oh, he tries in turn number 9, cannot get the job done.
Alex Tagliani said this weekend, although they kept returning to their baseline strategy, or setup, I should say, their main issue has been locking of rear brakes. So that means he can't be as aggressive on the entry of the corners, not wanting to lock up rear brakes and essentially do a handbrake turn, and that leaves you vulnerable for people to get by you.
And Elio Castroneves will not be in a position to try to take this spot this time. Right behind Elio is Dario Franchitti in 6th spot.
We had documented that Conway had got a splash of fuel. Also, Paul Tracy, just as they came to green, made a quick pit stop, so he's way back in the order now also.
He is back in 23rd position.
Boy, Franchitti's car looks pretty good. I think he's trying to get himself in position here where he can try to make an outbraking maneuver on Castroneves.
For a guy like Dario to say, my car is the best I've had, maybe the best all season, I'm surprised he's not moving forward more quickly.
Remember, Dario Franchitti was in blue colors last week, but he is back to the target red this week in car number 10. We go down to Robin Miller for some comments.
Well, PT didn't take too long to use the chrome horn. I guess he had to get Simona moved out of the way on that one. Got a little penalty for it, but it's to be expected. The guy hadn't been a full-time driver in a while, and it's a little rusty, because if he'd used it in the good old days, he'd have knocked 2 or 3 people out of the way with the chrome horn, not just one for 18th spot. But you kind of lose track of what happened to Conway. He's right there in the hunt, and all of a sudden he's back in 18th or 19th, and I think he was going to be the story of the race, and now he's got a hell of a long way to go.
Yep. Yeah, he's back in 19th spot. And Lindy has an update on Conway. Lindy?
Conway didn't have a great pit stop, and his engineer has told him, you've got a lot of time, Mike. You've got a great car, so be patient. And Bobby said, do not get overly aggressive here.
All right.
Well, that answers a couple of questions that we had. What happened to Simona? That's confirmation. She did get hit from behind by Paul Tracy. That was confirmed, obviously, by race control, who gave him a penalty. And your penalty for avoidable contact, as it's called, you have to serve it under green. So that's why Paul Tracy pitted once we went back to green, not for fuel, for a penalty. Good job, Robin.
I got a question in the booth. Here's what I understand. If Paul Tracy got a penalty, why didn't Castroneves get one for spinning out Justin Wilson?
I was just thinking the same thing, actually. When Jan was explaining all that, it was the same place and it was the same type of an incident.
And that just it adds credence to a lot of the people in this paddock think Castroneves gets favorable treatment other than Edmonton last year.
I was just waiting for you to finish that sentence, and you threw in the other than Edmonton. I was like, what? And Detroit a few years back. But anyway.
Chip Ganassi has 2 teams this year, not one 4-car team, but 2 2-car teams, and 2 of his drivers are running in the top 10. These are the first laps, by the way, this year that Ryan Briscoe has led. He's led in the last 4 races. He led laps in the last 4 races of 2010. He's ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay, Power, Tagliani, and Castroneves. 38 of 85 laps completed here in the 37th annual Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. 2 Ryans running up front. Ryan Briscoe is a leader, and Ryan Hunter-Reay there is in 2nd spot. Back in 3rd is Will Power, who led the early part of the race until we had some pit stops. Those are your top 3. By the way, Marco Andretti, who was involved in the incident with Sebastian Bourdais on pit lane, he is back in the race, a lap down in 25th. And another gaggle of cars here, including Conway, Jakes, the 78 of Simona De Silvestro, and Tony Kanaan moving to the inside of Simona De Silvestro, and along comes J.R. Hildebrand also.
Yeah, you pretty much get one car offline in one of those corners. You're going to lose 2 or 3 spots if it's backed up.
Wow! I thought Kanaan was going to hit that wall for sure. How do you bring that back? You wonder why
I think
you
the wall helped them from spinning out.
Yeah, I think so. That's what you're talking about when you lose rear grip. Gee, I can't figure out why I'm losing rear grip. Because you're coming out the first gear corner and just lighting them up. It's just
J.R. Hildebrand in the number 4 car, the gray and red, actually camouflage National Guard car. He is leading Rookie of the Year points at this stage of the season. Running back in 22nd right now.
Now, when you see somebody get that kind of wheel spin coming off of the corner, and how exciting you see a little bit even there from J.R. Hildebrand, is that for the new car for a while. Oh, look out!
Oh man! How did he save that?
That was not looking good.
That's right. When you lock up a tire like that and you're turning, it actually, the car stops turning. And I think the only thing that saved him is he got off the brake in time so that tire would spin so it would turn. Which is hard to do when you're going really fast and you need to slow down.
Yeah, really. All right, this was a while ago as we're on board with J.R. Hildebrand.
Well, this is when he goes, this is when you talked about when a car gets moved offline. Now he goes the long way around. And then keep an eye on Tony Kanaan ahead. This is where he had the big sideways moment coming off. Okay, so it's Hildebrand. Yeah.
And later in the same lap, this is what happened to Hildebrand. Boy, he just
he did a good job.
Avoided,
Doing a good job to get off that brake and let that car turn again.
Again, he's very experienced on this racetrack, but not in this series.
The point I was just making before he nearly took the wall down was that they considered for a while with the new car using traction control. Now I believe they're not going to. That's a good thing because otherwise you take away all this stuff.
Jump on our iZone Speed Zone. We'll be quiet for a while. Some sights and a lot of sound regarding the iZone Speed Zone here at Long Beach as we continue to watch the leader of the race, Ryan Briscoe. Nearing the halfway point of this race. I understand that Justin Wilson may be making a pit stop before long. He is running 13th. Ryan Briscoe has a 1.7 second advantage on second place Ryan Hunter-Reay. There's the interval. And a total of 2.7 seconds separates first and third, Briscoe and Will Power.
The heaviest braking zone right here, 3.5 Gs. As here does come Justin Wilson, Marty.
Yeah, Jan, Larry Curry radioed to Justin Wilson, said pit this lap, and Justin went, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yep, we're going to go on an alternate strategy here. They're trying to do something a little bit different. Clearly they feel like they have a very fast car. They're stuck in the back of the field, though. In 13th, they restarted 13th and stayed there. So these are stuffed red tires trying to get a little bit of track position here towards the end of this race."
Well, typically, Marty, you do that if a window opens, but he is nowhere near, which was why he would call on the radio saying, "Are you sure?" Because Justin Wilson knows where the pit windows are. And so you would need a tremendous amount of help to be able to make this work for a strategy purpose.
23 cars on the lead lap as we near the halfway point of the 37th Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Because he basically has to stop an extra time for fuel.
Right, unless there's
the reason. I mean, unless you have a tremendous amount of yellows, but that's really asking a lot.
We've established the first three. That's Ryan Briscoe, Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Will Power. Now back to fourth position where they run a little bit tighter. That's Alex Tagliani, followed by Elio Castroneves, and then Dario Franchitti.
All three on the Firestone primaries. black sidewalls. And, you know, Tagliani at first seemed like he was dropping backwards quickly, but now he's kind of regained his composure.
We mentioned a while ago that Marco Andretti had rejoined the race, and now he is listed as out. So both the cars involved in the incident on pit road, namely Sebastian Bourdais and Marco Andretti, are the two cars that are out of the race here at the halfway point. There's Marco's car. Down to Kevin.
Marco, what happened in the contact on pit lane with Bourdais?
I have to take full blame. I had no idea he was sitting on my left rear. I moved over. I just had no idea he was sitting there. So I got to take blame for it. Obviously, it's disappointing, and it was easy one to avoid. You know, I had no idea he was sitting there. You know, it's disappointing. We were gonna have ourselves a fun stint there on reds when everybody else was on blacks. You know, I just tried to hang in there on blacks. You know, it was going to be fun, but, you know, we tried to send it back out, but the steering was seizing up on me.
Unfortunately, a DNF for Marco today after he finished 4th at Barber last week, Bob.
Yeah, in his first race at St. Petersburg, he finished 24th. So 2 out of the first three races of 2011 have not gone well for Marco Andretti. 4th, 5th, and 6th here continue to run in the same order, very close to each other. Back of Franchitti is Serbia. Dixon, Hinchcliffe, and Mira are the others in the top 10.
It's a really good battle. They just need like a half a car length on the guy in front of you so you can try to pull out and outbrake somebody going down into turn 1. But they're so even right now, they're getting off that corner exactly the same.
This is Oriol Servia on board. Running 7th, looking back on Scott Dixon.
Newman Haas has the most team victories here at Long Beach. Ganassi a close second.
6 wins rather for Newman Haas Racing here at this facility, and Chip Ganassi has 5. We have pit stops coming up again before long, so we'll take another break and be right back for more of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, being led by Ryan Briscoe.
Ryan Briscoe leading his first laps all season long. A happy young man out in front here at the Long Beach Grand Prix in beautiful sunny Long Beach, California. A lot to celebrate for Ryan Briscoe so far today, especially considering he finished 18th and 21st in the first 2 races so far this year. Again, up front. Now here's the interesting thing. One of the very few on the softer red tires. We saw a lot of fall off towards the end of a run on these softer red tires. Ryan Briscoe right now in the sweet spot of this segment, trying to get as much time as he can from second place. So when these tires do fall off at the end of the run, he'll still be out front and in good position. Lindy?
A strong race for Ryan Hunter-Reay. This is his 6th race here. They've told him he's doing a perfect job. They plan to go with the faster red tires when they make their last pit stop. Of course, Ryan wants a repeat of last year, starting 2nd, finishing 1st. Marty, his strategist wants better fuel mileage.
Our pole sitter, Will Power, back in 3rd. He told me it really bothered him. He sat on the pole here the last 2 years and hasn't won the race. Yesterday, his teammate Helio Castroneves says he's the Kyle Busch of IndyCar. He pushes everybody else. He's trying to pressure Ryan Hunter-Reay in front of him and stay up, trying to get back to the front. Kevin?
Marty, Alex Tagliani started 9th, but he got up to 4th because he ducked into the pits when he saw Justin Wilson spin. He made a split-second decision, got in there, got the track position, got out front, couldn't hang on to the point, but still is running strong in 4th, Lindy.
Elio Castroneves racing in front of his daughter Michaela, now 15 months old. Elio's crew has not yet decided what tires they will use in the final stint. Elio told me beforehand they plan to wait until the last minute. After that last pit stop, Elio radioed in and thanked his team, Marty, for gaining him a spot.
On the last stop for Dario Franchitti, the man who won this race 2 years ago, no changes to the car. He said, I just can't make the progress on these black tires way in the back. The primary tires just don't have the grip those reds do. So when those guys out front took reds, we were kind of stuck where we were, Kevin.
Oriol Servia is another guy that's very familiar with this race course. He's been here just about as much as anybody has. 9 times, top 5 the last 2 times he was here. Car looks good here so far today. Oriol Servia is running 7th, Marty.
The quote from Scott Dixon, we gave up too much in qualifying. That was last year here at Long Beach. They started back in the field. Then today they started 8th, and you've got to wonder if that's going to cost them at the end of the day. Interesting strategy, though. They were planning on a fuel mileage run in the first stint. They're doing that now, saving fuel right now, hoping to stay out a few extra laps from everybody else, Kevin.
Real good run for James Hinchcliffe in his second start. His engineer is Craig Hampson, who worked his way up at Newman Haas and first served as the primary engineer for Sebastian Bourdais. Helped him to Rookie of the Year and then 4 straight titles. This is his first year back on the car at the track. After that, we're going to see Vitor Meira come into our view, and Vitor, as mentioned a little while ago, had some contact on pit lane with Graham Rahal. They think everything is okay, almost. The steering is about 2% off right now for Vitor Meira, but still a good run for them in the top 10 with the ABC supply car. Next up, we see AJ Viso. 11th place might be considered a win. No disrespect to the team, but it has been a very difficult start to the season, trying to keep the car intact. Multiple sessions, multiple incidents, but it has been a clean weekend. Don't want to put a jinx on the car, but a good weekend so far for EJ Viso. Lindy?
Danica Patrick running 14th. She started 20th. She says she likes the car better on those faster red tires. Her last pit stop, she took a half-turn front wing out on the last stop. But Bob, she says when she comes back in, she wants more of that wing out.
So there are your top 12. 13th is Rafael Matos, and 14th is Takuma Sato, another driver for the KV Racing Technology team. And by the way, Jimmy Vasser, who is the V in KV Racing Technology, was inducted into the Long Beach Motorsports Walk of Fame on Thursday of this week. So congratulations to Jimmy.
And in regards to the KV team, we'll keep an eye on the leaders, but what they did to change their weekend is they came as a 3-car team.
Plus 3.7.
Giving
Giving
intervals to Briscoe. They came with the cars all set up the same, and then on the first day they gave each a test list. They came back and compiled the information and chose the best of the best. The next morning, they had all the cars the same with another test list. Then came back, took the best of the best. So not until the third day did they let the drivers go on their own routes they wanted. So they used the 3-car team the way it was designed, and all of a sudden, they were much quicker this weekend as a group.
Well, you can see that Briscoe has extended his lead to almost 4 seconds now, and he has been steadily pulling away from Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I've been watching the times pretty closely, Bob, and Hunter-Reay was really staying even with Briscoe. I was really, really impressed. I think Hunter-Reay still has a really, really good race car and a good shot to win this race. But this is what I think Briscoe needs to do. He needs to put some space in between those guys. If it stays green, he'll get in and out of the pits in the lead. So this is where he really has to capitalize on these tires working really good right now.
Danica Patrick is right behind EJ Viso in 12th position. 53 out of 85 laps completed. You're watching live coverage on Versus of the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Back in a moment. In the streets of Long Beach, we've seen a couple of pit stops here. Second and final pit stops. Oriol Servia made his stop, and now we are on board as Tony Kanaan pulls back out onto the racetrack.
And I don't think he was happy. I've come, you know, I have a lot of Italian in my family, and I see that hand of motion, and that means he's been angry. And I don't think Tony was very happy for some reason. When you're talking with your hands and driving an IndyCar,
yeah,
that takes not only talent, but you're very angry.
Ryan Briscoe with a 4.5 second advantage now on Ryan Hunter-Reay. There's Ryan coming out of the corner. And by the way, Ryan Hunter-Reay uses the number 28. We talked about how his mom passed away a little more than a year ago, and he won the race last year in honor of her. His 28 on the car represents the 28 million Americans who are battling cancer. It hasn't been a particularly good weekend for Ryan Briscoe until now. This morning in practice, this is what happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you do this and not hit anything. That's really a good job. Yeah, he had the presence of mind to turn the wheel the right way to get the car turned around and pointed in the right direction. So he dodged a huge bullet right there. Marty?
And guys, he's out doing this with the thumb, the right thumb that has torn ligaments in his right thumb. And he said it's actually worse this week. Ryan Briscoe will come to pit road this time, and some very, very impressive laps for Ryan Briscoe on that last stint, because they didn't fall, the Reds did not fall off as much as his teammate Will Power earlier. Kevin?
Alex Tagliani is in for his final Sunoco fuel stop. He finished 6th at St. Pete. He's got a good run going here today. Scuffed reds, these are a little bit faster, but they've got some wear on them. We'll see if he can last, and the tires will hold the rest of the way.
And Kevin, you could really see that it's the final pit stop. It takes longer for the fuel to get in on the final pit stop. They just waited and waited and waited for all that fuel.
Last year was Fast Motorsports. Sam Schmidt Motorsports is the owner of the car driven by Alex Tagliani.
And I should say the reason is it's a gravity system, so therefore if there's less fuel in the tank, it takes longer to fill.
Tagliani pulls back out onto the racetrack in front of Oriol Servia as now Ryan Briscoe, the leader, comes in, Marty.
Well, a moment ago, we heard Marco Andretti say it's fun when you're out there on reds and everybody else is on the primary tire. Ryan Briscoe was able to get a 4-second gap there on Ryan Hunter-Reay. He will come to pit road. He wants no changes on the car. It will be a set of scuffed red tires and no chassis changes for Briscoe and enough fuel to make it all the way. Now you must wait on the fuel to make sure that you're good to go. Ryan Briscoe heads back out on the racetrack.
8.3 seconds, good stop for Ryan Briscoe.
So while this is happening, Ryan Hunter-Reay has got to be out there just standing on it. This is the opportunity you want to try and get every last little ounce of speed you can out of it.
And what's also important is your outlap. When you change these tires and you see Briscoe's on it really, really hard, you can lose a lot of time. You've got to try to get as much as you can out of the tires. We got to possibly a pass back, but you got to get as much as you can on these cold tires. So you can either gain or lose time depending on how aggressive you are.
And every lap that he does, he has a light fuel load and he has hot tires. And look what's happening for Briscoe. He's got to be careful around other cars because his tires are not up to temperature and he has a heavy fuel load. So while he's doing that, trying to be careful, you have a Ryan Hunter-Reay that is on it. Light car, getting every lap he can. And the idea is that he comes in, comes out, and then jumps for the lead if it works.
Well, 4 seconds is a pretty big jump. I think he would be really happy if he could get close to Briscoe when he finishes his pit stop.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, the 4th leader of the race. Will Powers led 27, Briscoe 24, Tagliani 4, and Ryan Hunter-Reay has led the last 2 laps. And here is Franchitti into the pits.
Right front wing up, 1.
He moves out. Danica Patrick also making a final pit stop. 50 miles an hour down to pit out. As back up front, it continues to be Ryan Hunter-Reay and Will Power, who have not made their second pit stop yet.
Let's see if they pit on the same lap or
Pit
whether.
on this lap, Ryan. Pit on this lap.
There's the answer to that one. Let's see if Power stays out or if he comes in too. Power stays out.
Oh. Lindy.
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay's crew cannot afford to stumble on this pit stop. What should be his final one. Ryan does not want any changes as he hits his marks, and just as planned, they will take those red tires. He's not saying much over the radio except that he's happy with this car and everything feels good. He's out.
It's going to be close.
I think he's going to beat him easily. He can only go 50 miles an hour all the way down to just before turn 1. And here comes Briscoe at 170.
It's going to be close.
Boy,
I think Briscoe's going to have it because he's going to have the momentum when he gets down there.
Yeah.
I say Ryan Hunter-Reay gets there first.
He's on warmer tires.
And you win.
It's going to be Briscoe.
Good job.
Warm tires, cold tires. But it did close the gap. Like I talked, now it's up to Ryan to get after it and not let Briscoe, pull out.
Isn't it incredible how much distance the difference is when you're at speed versus 50 miles? I mean, he was way back in turn 9 going to turn 10. You figure he's got it easy. Now let's see if Power can do it.
Will Power relinquishes the lead, Marty.
Bob, very intentional that they stayed out 1 extra lap for Ryan Hunter-Reay because they feel like if they stayed out, even on old tires, that they could gain a little bit of time when Ryan Hunter-Reay was on the colder tires. Will Power wants no changes to the chassis. It will be red, scuffed tires for Will Power, and let's see where he cycles out with his teammate and also Ryan Hunter-Reay. This should be interesting, heading back out to the track.
Yeah, I think Briscoe's going to easily beat Power into turn 1. might be close between him and Hunter Ray.
There, oh, it's so similar.
Oh, so Power is going to fall into second.
So he did jump one spot, just like you said, Wally. He couldn't get the, oh, well, hang on. Look out, look out. Whoa, I'm on cold tires.
Cold tires for sure.
And this is where Hunter Ray smells blood. Because he's on his tires now. They're warmer. Will Power's struggling, so this is where he's really got to make hay.
Now here was our first call. So had that been under caution, I would have won the bet. But unfortunately, because they were at speed, by the time I got down to turn 1 at 170 miles an hour.
What was that bet again? I forgot how much.
We didn't have a chance to put anything on it.
That's too bad.
Lindy Elio's in.
And Elio picked this first stop because it was easiest to pull into. It looks like they have decided on the red tires.
And Lindy, while you were talking, Ryan Hunter Ray did exactly what Wally was predicting. He smelled blood and he took the spot.
So Ryan Hunter Ray moves back a position.
Okay, good job. And Scott Dixon on pit road, guys, leaving pit road as we predicted, staying out a few laps later than everyone else. Elio Castroneves will beat him out by just a little bit. We'll see if this gained the 9 some positions as well.
It's basically ice skate racing here for the first lap for these two guys right here, Castroneves and Franchitti. Oh, he locks him up.
Uh-oh. And it's EJ Viso. Once again, damaging the race car. Viso is running in 18th position. But again, his race comes to an end after contact with the wall or another car. We're not sure. Probably the wall.
Well, this is obviously going to bring them all together.
Yep.
After everybody's made their stops.
Another 2 abreast restart.
Or hopefully.
That'll be
yes.
good.
Hopefully it'll be a 2 abreast restart.
They need to tune that restart up, that's for sure, as well as the main start. Again, I think it's because you come off the final corner at 28 miles an hour. It just takes a long time. And you know, it actually hasn't gone. We keep saying, oh, this will bring them together. They haven't gone full course yet. This is still considered a local.
He's right there at pit entrance.
They can probably get this out of the way.
Yeah, yes they can. I believe you're right.
All right, here's how it happened. That's Ray Hall passing Danica Patrick, and then there's going to be contact between Patrick and Viso.
He turned down on Danica on that one. That was his fault.
Yep.
So he made contact with both a car and the wall, but no full course caution. No full course caution. We remain under green here with just a little more than 20 laps to go in the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Live coverage this afternoon on Versus. We are under a full course caution here at Long Beach, not because of the EJ Viso crash, but because of one involving Justin Wilson, who has come into the tire barrier in turn number 8.
I've got, I'm going to go with he got hit again.
Yeah, here's the on board.
Just listen when he gets up here.
Yeah, well, that looked like Hildebrand.
It looked like Paul Tracy to me.
You think?
Yeah. Nope, you're right. It is Hildebrand. Yep. Well, in any case,
it's not good for Justin.
No, it isn't.
We can agree on that. Second time for Justin.
That's too bad. He had he was really fast in practice. Did good in qualifying. I think he really thought he had a great car today. And those guys didn't unload very well. They made a lot of changes to that car and helped it considerably.
Now, I don't see any marks there, though. But certainly the car that was right behind him was J.R. Hildebrand.
They can now get the Viso car off the track also and in a safer position. And now we're on board with J.R. Hildebrand.
Yeah, something broke.
Okay.
Definitely no contact.
But you heard a clunk, which we thought was contact, but the clunk was some kind of let's listen again.
Something broke back there.
Something something broke at the back of the car, and again, JR, that you were nowhere near. So no harm, no foul there, but definitely a tough day for the Z-Line Designs car. They were hoping for much better, especially how fast he was last year.
Thing is, it's funny, it's driving. So, it's like, okay, well, the gearbox broke or something, but he's under his own power.
It's almost that clunk sometimes is when it pops out of gear. Sometimes
well, it's almost like that because he was floating in there for a long time.
Right.
Without anything happen, no engine or anything.
And you see a little bit of puff of smoke off the back, like a rear lockup as well. This is kind of where you're like, can you guys put me out of my misery here?
Yeah.
Where's the wrecker?
Well, this is going to bunch up the field.
Yes, it is.
For the restart.
This is where I believe Hunter Ray has got his best opportunity right now to show what kind of race car he has, because I think he's got a good one.
Well, the order is Ryan Briscoe, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Will Power, Elio Castroneves, and Oriol Servia, the top 5 under caution at Long Beach. And we will be going green here, so we'll hold off the commercial.
Good call.
Now, Hunter Ray's got to, what he did on the start of the race, he needs to do here.
Well, they are not going green this lap, so we will take the break. And we'll show you the restart when we come back to Southern California. Welcome back to Long Beach. This is going to be good, folks. We got 19 laps to go when they cross the line, and they will be forming up 2x2 for the restart.
And this time they tried to use the pace car to keep them slow.
Still not side
by
side.
Will Power's got a pretty good run. Somebody's going to duck in here and try to make an out-braking maneuver.
Oh, man.
Power's on the outside.
Not where he needs to be.
Whoa, look at Castroneves. Oh, he took out his teammate. I can't believe it.
Elio Castroneves and Will Power spin.
Castroneves takes out Will Power. Oh, is he in trouble? Woo.
Oriol Servia also spun, but he got going again.
That is not good.
Whoa.
So they know you need a restart.
Can you believe
a lot of damage right there?
Dixon has contact.
No full course caution yet.
There's gotta be
debris on the race coming off of race cars.
There's got to be a full course caution. There's
Nothing
stuff everywhere.
Yet.
Oh wait.
Oh, we got Sebastian Saavedra, Charlie Kimball, and Takuma Sato in a crash.
Now we have full course caution.
Kimball in the 83, Sato in the 5. They've come together.
This is what everyone expected from the beginning of the race.
Yes.
And it's been clean as a whistle. Now, flying everywhere.
Too bad, you're doing a great job.
Oh, we got a missing wing here on Ray Hall's car. Yeah. And a right front flat tire. There's probably Ray Hall's wing.
Yep.
Corner workers
get out of the way in a hurry. Yeah.
They do a great job, but they take their life in their own hands at times.
Now let's take a look at. Hey, listen, Power made a power move there on the outside. I mean, he had to try to make something happen.
Here we go.
And we'll see Power duck out because there's no room down on the bottom. He knows that's going to go away. Castroneves is pretty far back
Look
at
how
this
far
point.
back Castroneves is nowhere even in the picture. And then, pow.
See now, you know what? Yeah, that's he locked the left front. He locked the tires up.
That is,
went straight.
Servia is battling with him.
Watch Castroneves lock up the tires. When he locks up the tires, he goes straight and hits Power because his car stops turning.
Yeah, right there. And it is so similar to what happened in St. Petersburg.
I don't think Servia hit anything. He did a 360 back in the race.
Wow.
From Power's on board.
And Power's doing exactly what he should. He's looking for a spot. He's not rubbing on anybody. He's just seeing if he can find something. And then next thing you know, hello, Elio. That's the same thing that happened in St. Petersburg when he came in. Wow.
And now Oriole Servia.
This will be the funnest ride, really, of the whole day. And does a great job missing catching.
Yeah.
Stands on the gas.
Immediately turns right, lights it up, says, here's a gap. Look at this. Yeah!
Right behind Danica. That was good.
Nice. Well, you know, one of our journalists, Marshall Pruitt, gave Helio Castro Neves the Golden Bowling Ball Award at St. Petersburg. And then he gave it to Ryan Hunter-Reay at the next race. I think he's back on top of the leaderboard on that one now.
Meanwhile, in another part of the racetrack, we're trying to get this situation sorted out as Sato and Kimball have not yet gotten restarted.
Now, Kimball said, hey, start me.
See what happened here.
Okay, we got
he's got that.
Oh.
That means that Rahal probably got into the back of Sato. He had a left rear going down.
I think his right front was the one that was flat as well on Sato's car. If we go back and look at that.
Saavedra.
So Saavedra must have had contact with Kimball.
Correct.
Yeah. Saavedra is over to the left.
Yeah.
Jan, you called that correctly about Rahal getting into Sato. He just radioed back and said Conway was going to the inside of Sato. Sato was going too slow, tried to check up and got into him.
I can't believe they fixed that car already. Isn't that Dixon's wheel that was all out of whack?
It was, but he. I thought they would have replaced that. So you just on pit road, figuring they would change that tie rod.
Marty?
Those were rather quick repairs for Scott Dixon. They pretty much replaced the entire right front suspension area and got that car going. It was just the right front tire that was the only problem with the car. They did not have to replace either wing for Scott Dixon. Back out on the track.
And I'll have to say, I have to take it back. Justin Wilson is still running. Remember I said put me out of it? He didn't want, he's actually managed to fix whatever the issue was with Justin Wilson, and he's still up and running.
Yep. Only 3 cars out of the race are Sebastian Bourdais, Marco Andretti, and E.J. Viso.
I thought he was done for sure.
Hey, Marty, did they say what happened on that deal with Wilson?
They did not say exactly, and I haven't had a chance to check in with Larry Curry. I'll go do that just in 1 second, Wally. They did replace both the front and rear wing for Justin Wilson and some of the right rear suspension. That's clearly where the part broke. I'll find out exactly what it was in just a moment.
Wilson is in 24th position, 5 laps down. We have 18 cars on the lead lap. With 16 laps to go. Here's some radio transmission from Oriole Servia, who did the nice 360 into turn 1.
Oriole, thank you. We're staying out. Obviously, you're still P8, you're still in it. We watched the replay. You did exactly what you had to do. You did very well, Oriole. Keep at it.
I had nowhere to go. It was unbelievable.
How is your car? Did you touch anybody?
We didn't touch anybody.
Good, clean job here.
He did do a great job avoiding cars ahead of him and avoid hitting the wall. So Servia is 8th.
And lost probably 3 or 4 spots at least on that deal. Servia's been running great all day.
Takuma Sato back up and running.
Turn 10.
And Bob, I found the problem for Justin Wilson. That'll make your day go bad. The right front toe link bent in half, and that's what sent him into the wall.
Yep, that'll do it. All right, as we get set for the restart now, it's Ryan Briscoe and Ryan Hunter-Reay first and second, but third is going to be the guy who says he's had the best car ever in this young season. That is Dario Franchitti. So we'll be watching him from 3rd position in the red number 10. Here they go. Line it up side by side.
Hey, Tagliani's got to run. Well, he had to run. These guys were stacked up and he was going. See Franchitti looking for a spot. Boy.
Oh, Franchitti is going to get second. Ryan Hunter-Reay is going to lose.
Oh, Tagliani's all over the place. And Mike Conway shoots the gap.
Ryan Hunter-Reay maintained his position. Wow. I thought he was going to lose at least 1 position. Mike Conway up to 4th. Nice job by Mike.
What's happening is they're not forming up 2 by 2, and people are getting runs, and all of a sudden everyone's arriving in turn 1 at the same time. Look at Conway looking to the inside.
Up Dario Franchitti.
Very nice. Very
Conway,
nice.
is he going to get the spot? Yes, he does.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay is in trouble. Ryan Hunter-Reay is off the pace.
Almost contact with Vitor Meira there. Wow, Ryan Hunter-Reay, it looks like his day may be over. At least his chances of winning this race are gone. Car owner Michael Andretti looks on. So while one of his cars drops out of the race, or at least is having problems, Mike Conway, another member of the Andretti Autosport team, has moved to second position. Dario Franchitti is third. Then James Hinchcliffe is running fourth. There's Hinchcliffe in the 06 car. Behind him is Alex Tagliani, then Serbia, and then Danica Patrick, who is seventh.
Get some reports that... Go ahead, Lindy. What's going on?
Well, when Ryan slowed down, it was complete shock here. They did not see this coming. You should have seen the looks on the faces of this crew. I just went up and asked Michael Andretti what happened. He said, hang on, I have absolutely no idea.
Conway takes the lead, Lindy. Mike Conway has taken the lead from Ryan Briscoe. Can you believe Conway?
Wow, first he pounces on Dario Franchitti, then he just mixes it up with Ryan Briscoe. Wow.
Finishes a 23rd and 22nd so far in the Eyes on IndyCar series this year. Mike Conway leads at Long Beach. And there are coming up 13 laps to go.
And those were decisive moves.
13 laps to go, 13 to go, and you got 9 overtake left. 9 overtake remain.
That's Tom Anderson talking to Mike Conway. And Tom Anderson, even before any of this, is very, very high on this young man. Says that the way he is so laid back in his responses. Now, he's a fireball behind the wheel, but when he's out of the car, he is got to be one of the most reserved guys you're ever going to run across.
Very quiet,
If he wins, we may have to have him interview Marty, maybe.
He's pulled away to a 1.6 second advantage on Briscoe. Here's how the change of leader took place.
Same place he got Franchitti.
Textbook outbreaking right there. Really nice move. Yeah, how about an emotion swing right there in about 2 laps?
He has opened up a gap, hasn't he?
Wow. Wally?
Yes, sir.
I got a cattle prod for the post-race interview. That's going to put some life in conflict. That's the only way we're going to get me to yell.
12 to go, 9 overtake remain.
And a 2.5 second lead for Mike Conway over Ryan Briscoe.
Talk about saving it till the end.
And Bob lurking back there, Dario Franchitti, who has more overtakes than anyone. He has 16 left. His problem all day long, he has not been able to talk to the crew since early in the race. They can talk to him, but he cannot talk back to the crew. So they've made no changes on the car because they don't know what to change on the car. But clearly they've gotten it better, or the car has gotten better throughout the day. Kevin?
Great day for Newman Haas. They've been here every time that Indy cars have run at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, 28, and they've won more than anybody else 6 times. James Hinchcliffe in his second IndyCar start is 4th. He's done a great job of saving fuel today, and he's also been quick. Oriol Servia started this stint needing to save some fuel. He escaped the melee there. That caution, though, helped him to where he can run flat out. He's been told that he can use his overtake button off of every hairpin the rest of the way.
Wow. Needless to say, Hinchcliffe is the highest placing rookie right now. And Ryan Hunter-Reay's crew trying to determine what happened. Lindy?
We had heard them say he was going to come in and replace the steering wheel. He came in, they have not done that yet, but they keep looking at it. You can see they have just taken this thing apart, trying to figure out what's happened here, Bob.
What a heartbreak for last year's winner here at Long Beach, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Now, the reason you're changing steering wheel obviously has nothing mechanical. There's just a lot of electronics, including the gear shifts. That's why you would replace it. It has nothing to do with the steering, obviously. That is part of your driveline and control, which is why you might try that.
They're second, third, and fourth. But Mike Conway has pulled ahead by almost 4 seconds over Briscoe and Franchitti and Hinchcliffe. Here comes Mike. There's the interval between first and second place.
Now, I will say that if Will Power was still running, Dario Franchitti would be one step more aggressive. But he knows at the moment that his main championship contender has been beached by his teammate, and he's got an opportunity here just to be careful.
Coming up on 10 laps to go. This is only the second IndyCar race that Mike Conway has led in his career. The other was at the Indianapolis 500 last year, where he was badly hurt. Going to break, we mentioned that Mike Conway was badly injured in last year's Indianapolis 500 in the closing laps up and over the car of Ryan Hunter-Reay that had run out of fuel. Mike Conway up into the catch fence, the car tearing completely apart. Mike Conway was on the sidelines all last year after this crash. Today, he has come back to lead in the closing stages of the most prestigious road race in the United States, that being the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. There are just a few laps to go here. Conway has a 5.5-second lead. Lindy.
And his practice sessions before this race were not that great. Michael, is this your driver that you expected in this spot right now?
Oh, for sure. You know, we had a lot of high hopes for Mike, and so far, he's not letting us down. You know, we got a long way to go, but I'm really proud of the job he's done. You know, he had a problem in the pits, and a lot of guys would have given up, but he's been pushing really hard, and just really proud of him. I hope he can win the World Cares.
What happened in the pits?
I think he overshot the pit and caught the hose, and that just messed up the whole deal. So hopefully that won't matter. So we just got to make it to the end. I hope there's just no yellows. I think we'll be all right if there's no yellows.
And you have any update on Hunter-Reay?
I think it was a gearbox. I don't know for sure. I just feel so bad for the whole DHL team. I mean, it was just he was going so well. I mean, we had a shot at a 1-2 finish. So that's the only problem with this game. One high, one low, you know. So we'll see.
Michael Andretti. Bob?
All right, Michael, we watch as there now are just a little more than 6 laps to go for Mike Conway. And again, the interval back to Ryan Briscoe is almost 6 seconds. And by the way, while we have the opportunity, let me remind you, we spoke of Indianapolis. We will have coverage of both pole day, bump day, and carb day at this Indianapolis Motor Speedway again this year on Versus. Danica Patrick is in 7th spot. Behind her is Tony Kanaan, and in front of her is Oriol Servia.
And if you look all the way back in the group, when I was talking about Will Power, he is still running, of course. Both Castro Neves and Power did get restarted. But when I was talking about Dario, when I mean that Will Power's not running up front, so therefore Dario may not be as aggressive. But both those cars did get restarted, and he still now has a chance to get by some of these cars like Rafael Matos that he follows now for some championship points they're going to pay down the road.
Power is currently in 11th position. He could get into the top 10 if he passes Rafael Matos up front.
And Power was on the overtake.
Here he is. He will take the spot rather easily. Now we'll watch to see if Helio Castroneves can pick up the position.
What a great day it's been for James Hinchcliffe in his second IndyCar race. He's one of many that loves this place. He won last year in Lights. He was here 3 times in Atlantics. And the car has been fabulous for James Hinchcliffe today. Maybe a new Canadian star is being born today.
Great point, Kevin. It's just, we've seen James Hinchcliffe drive a lot of things. We have to remind ourselves this is his second IndyCar race.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and he's been fast both times, just blindingly fast in qualifying. So yes, a star is being born. We've yet to hit the ovals, of course, but so far road course-wise, he's been very impressive.
We have Canadian drivers running 4th and 5th. Alex Tagliani, also a Canadian. And as you heard, 5 laps to go around this almost 2-mile circuit. There is Helio still running back in 12th position. There's Conway. Advantage is 6 seconds.
He is flying.
Sometimes you can keep your concentration, as you know, Wally, when you push hard. If you back off and say, hey, I just need to bring it home, sometimes that's when you make mistakes.
Yeah, it's nice that he doesn't have anybody filling up his mirrors.
Right,
either.
but because he drove away from him.
Yeah.
I mean, he took some risks, too. He was definitely pushing all the way.
Briscoe's asking, what happened?
Yeah. Well, he decisively went by Briscoe and first Franchitti and then Briscoe. I mean, just like...
Briscoe down into turn 1, second gear.
Grab first here. This curve on the right-hand side was the one that caught out Paul Tracy in practice.
Hard braking here into the left-hander. Kind of arc it around to the left because you got another right-hander coming up.
This one's 65 miles an hour, second gear.
Seems faster than that. He's in there. He gives away for the car that got out of his way.
160 miles an hour, 3.2 G's on the braking there.
He's got Franchitti breathing down his neck, so he's giving it a lot. What do you got down there, Marty?
And Wally, I know you drivers are never happy to finish second, but remember what Ryan Briscoe told us, or told me before the show started. He said, we need a solid day. They finished 18th and 21st in the first 2 races this year. This will do a lot for championship points. So in the big picture, very successful day for the 16.
Not only that, Marty, but it's a confidence builder. You know, when you've had a couple of weeks like Ryan's had, you really need to get your confidence built up, and a good strong run like he's having today goes a long way. Because that Brazil's a long airplane trip.
Yeah. Team Penske running second. Target Chip Ganassi Racing running third. The last time that a non-Penske or Ganassi driver won an IZOD IndyCar Series race was Tony Kanaan at Iowa last year on this short oval there. For Andretti Autosport, and Mike Conway is looking for his first win with the same race team.
Serbia followed by Patrick.
Vitor Meira in 9th, Will Power 10th. Then comes
Power really hasn't been able to do anything with Meira.
Yeah. And Elio has not been able to do anything with Rafa Matos either.
All you have to do is look through qualifying and see how close these cars were, and it is such a level playing field.
And how important track position is.
Oh, yeah.
The last driver to score his first career win before today was the guy who's currently running in second position, Ryan Briscoe. That happened at Milwaukee in June of 2008. Mike Conway will be looking at the white flag this time around.
Worth remembering, I believe Lindy told us earlier, this is the spare car. He had that big wreck after contact with his teammate Danica Patrick, and he just slammed the barrier when we were in Barber. So spare car, and boy, I think this
White flag, white flag. +6 on Briscoe, +6.
1.9 miles to go, and you heard a 6-second advantage for Mike Conway.
He'll want to drive this some more.
It's his new favorite car.
Yeah.
Conway can pretty much take it easy now. He's coming up on J.R. Hildebrand, but he's got a substantial advantage. Here he is. Moving down the backstretch, moving from turn 8 to turn number 9. Michael Andretti, his car owner, looking on. Here's turn 9. Turn 10. In the hairpin, back from a devastating crash last year at the Indianapolis 500. Mike Conway wins his first Eyes on IndyCar Series event at the most prestigious street
Mike.
race.
Good job. Now, Mike, listen to me now. When you put into the pit lane, you're going to go straight across. Winner's circle is straight across. So whenever you come into the pit lane, just go straight. And pit lane will be there. So be careful when you come in. Go straight over to pit lane. Congratulations. Your first one, buddy.
Mike Conway into victory lane here at Long Beach. He becomes the 274th driver to win in the history of open wheel racing.
Anytime the call comes from the pits and the first thing they tell you is how to get to victory lane, you know that is a good day.
Down to Kevin.
The happy owner is here, Michael Andretti. You've experienced it yourself. How happy are you for Mike Conway, considering where he came from?
I am so happy. Like I said, his comeback complete now. You know, he just he impressed me right away. The first time we put him in a race car, I knew he was going to win races, and I'm just so happy he was able to do it this early. And one of the greatest races here in Long Beach. I'm just so proud of him and the whole Window Cares team because. You know, they had a tough time in that one pit stop, and to come back the way they did, that says something.
Just a horrific crash last year at Indy. He comes to your team. Surprised some people when you hired him. Let's talk about the pass to get past Ryan Briscoe now.
Unbelievable. You know, it was a bit of a surprise because it's really difficult to pass here, but he did a hell of a job. Nice pass. He had a couple good passes there in the end of the race, and shows that he's a racer.
Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
You can tell Michael Andretti is emotional. This means something to him, and it tells you a little bit about what he thinks about Mike Conway as they head to victory lane.
And it's his second consecutive win as an owner here at Long Beach. Ryan Hunter-Reay last year and Mike Conway this year. And Conway has found victory circle. Can you imagine the thrill that was within that young man?
And relief.
Yeah,
it's always
I think
nice
relief.
to get your first win and get that monkey off your back.
And he's had a tough start to the season.
Yeah.
Just came off yet another big crash. And had trouble in the pits. Michael was just talking about you thinking your day is over, and they're saying, nope, push, push, push. And here you are in victory circle.
Yep. He doesn't seem to want to come out of the car.
I don't think they've told him, given him the sign to jump yet. So it's a highly choreographed event, you know.
Right. Miller hasn't shown up yet with the
cattle
prod.
Yeah, right.
Well, he has at least a little bit of the DHL on there for Ryan Hunter-Reay, who really it slipped away from him today.
Yep. And there is Will Power, who came home in 10th position.
Team meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He and teammate Elio Castro-Neves came together in turn 1 on a restart, putting Power back to 10th and Castro-Neves to 12th in the final rundown.
There, they're giving him the sign.
Yep.
All right, Mike.
Well, we get a smile from Mike Conway as he emerges from the car, Lindy.
And of course, this is his first time here, so he is just getting used to this and getting all the instruction and taking it all in. Mike Conway's been here 3 times. His best finish before now, 10th last year. Getting all the hugs from his crew. He is the first-time winner since Ryan Briscoe in Milwaukee back in 2008. Mike Conway, it is not often we get to talk to a first-time winner, so tell us how this feels.
Awesome. I mean, as soon as I got in the lead, I was kind of thinking about winning already, and I knew I just had to forget about it and just get on with the job in hand. And the car was great, could just push all the time and control the gap. And I can't thank everyone on the team, Andretti Autosport, for this result. Everyone at Winterwell cares, and DHL for being on the car, and all my guys. They hung in there all day, and there was a slight mistake on the pit stop. My mistake, coming in locked up, and I thought our day might be done, but I just had to hang in there and push all the way. And on the restarts, the car was awesome. Just came to life.
Talk about that pass for the lead.
Yeah, I made the same move on Dario, and it just looked them guys were struggling to get temperature in their tires, and my car was good to go, and just took my time and just picked my point and clean pass and just head down from there and pull away.
We heard them tell you to be patient. Do you think that's what really helped you here?
Yeah, it was easy to have started overdriving the car, when we're that far back and try and make moves that probably weren't quite there, but just had to make the right moves and hang in there and keep it clean and push when I had to.
Mike Conway, the winner here today, and what a comeback story after his crash at the Indianapolis 500. Marty?
Well, Lindy, a little controversy there at the end of the race. What was your take, Will Power, on the contact with your teammate?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I just got hit from behind as I turned in, and not good for points. You got it here. Okay, here we go. I'm on the outside there. Turn in. Oh, nice. Nice. That's not very
Here's
good.
the onboard angle.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Yeah, that's pretty blatant, but, got back to 10th. Lost probably a pretty good chunk of points to Frank Kitty, who were looking like a good day here, but that's racing and that's double file restarts,
You handle this differently because it's your teammate?
Yeah. I know what to say. It's it's not very good, but hey, it's racing, and it's close racing, and these things happen.
All right, they definitely are exciting, these double file restarts. Will Power comes back to finish 10th. Plenty more coming from Long Beach. We've got a lot of drivers to talk to as we wrap up the Toyota Grand Prix. Mike Conway in victory lane with his first career win.
Welcome back to the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. We have two other podium finishers. Let's start with Dario Franchitti, who comes in third today. Pretty eventful. What was your vantage point like?
Yeah, I think I was, myself, the target car, we were quick everywhere apart from out of the hairpin down here and up the straight. So, whoever it was, whether it was Elio or Ryan, I seemed to be able to catch them, and then they would gap me out of the hairpin. So I don't think we set the car up for the right corners of the track today. So that made it difficult. Lost the radio after the first pit stop. Made it a little bit eventful too, and I have to say Mike Conway was in a class of his own there that last restart. I was struggling to get temperature in the tires. He came hauling past me, and he did a great job. So congratulations to him. We've got to work harder and find out where we're missing just a little bit of pace.
The good thing is for you, others had problems and you scored good points.
Yeah, we got through that. I saw there was a big old accident there, and I just got through it. I could see Scott was in trouble there. So yeah, that was a lucky break for us today, definitely.
Nice job. Another podium for Dario Franchitti. And you, Ryan Briscoe, really needed a good result after the first two weekends.
Sure did.
The car has been quick and really no fault of your own. Now you got to the front and you were able to stay up there most of the way.
It feels so good. For a while I thought we were actually going to get the win today, but Conway was lightning fast. I really had nothing for him at the end on the restart. But it's an amazing day. An exciting weekend. We were P1 in the last two practice sessions, and then just, screwed up in qualifying, didn't get a clear lap, and ended up P12. And I just thought this championship is just never going to turn my way. And to get that lucky break with the caution today, another master call by Roger by calling me in the pits before that yellow came, and we took the lead and led a lot of laps today, and it just felt so good to be back up the front, getting a good result, being on the podium today, and a huge confidence boost for all my crew guys as well. So we just want to keep moving forward now.
Were you expecting him to make a run by you at that point on the racetrack, Conway?
No, I wasn't. I saw him come out of the fountain, and I was sort of sliding around, and he had massive traction, and then we came off at turn 5, and I thought he must have had sticker tires or something. He was just so much faster. There was nothing I had for him, and he just drove into the distance from that point. But it's pretty frustrating because I had a good car, and I felt like on the two previous restarts, I was, compared to Hunter Ray in that, I was really good on cold tires. But Conway was just in a class of his own. Congrats to him for his first win.
Good run today.
Thank you.
A second for Ryan Briscoe, Bob.
Yeah, and also good performance on pit lane, as he is our Firestone pit performing team, with Ryan Briscoe spending a total of 1 minute 17.63 seconds on pit lane here this afternoon. Marty is with Elio Castro-Neves, who finished 12th.
Yeah, Bob, and I've known Elio for a long time and never seen him this dejected. What was your take on the contact with your teammate?
Well, first of all, AAA did a hell of a job. We didn't have a car to be right up there, and we actually were running on top 4, which was great. So my goal was just basically not making mistakes and finish, and obviously that was a huge mistake. Really don't understand. Still, for me, very difficult to timing the double file restarts, and certainly I wasn't even trying to pass Will. I really apologize for the team. Certainly. Taking him out, that was not a smart thing. So I feel terrible. Certainly, we got to move on. We got to turn the page. I'm certainly going to talk to him, and because it was not on purpose, and I would never. My long time with the team, I never took any teammates out, and this was a very tough one. But again, good for Ryan. He deserved a good second place. Should deserve the win. And but our car AAA again did a hell of a job. Hopefully for next race we overcome these problems.
This one's really hitting you hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is my team. We're teammates. I obviously want to finish in front of everyone. My point is, we don't take each other out. That's the first. That's an acceptable thing. I taking all the blame. There is nothing that I can say about. But I'm really upset. I'm sorry.
You'll chat with him before you leave, right?
Yeah.
All right. Elio Castro-Neves obviously very upset. Finished 12th today, but not a very happy 12th place finish, Bob.
Yep, Elio is certainly not very happy, but Mike Conway is. When Mario Andretti won the first Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach IndyCar race April 1st of 1984, Mike Conway, our winner today, was just over 8 months old. He becomes a first-time winner in the series here this afternoon. Back in a moment. Mike Conway wins this year's Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. And Mike mentioned how he had problems on pit lane. He was actually 22nd in the lineup after lap 30 when he had the mistake in the pits. But these are members of his crew that resulted in his winning here this afternoon, becoming a first-time winner in the IZOD IndyCar Series. And Lindy Thaxton is with Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And Ryan, things looked so promising, and then all of a sudden you slow down. What do you know now happened?
I'm still trying to process this. I can't even believe it. The car was so good, and with Briscoe there, we were saving fuel behind him the last couple starts before that, and then the guys told me I can just go loose on him, and we were getting ready to go, and kept Dario behind me and setting up Briscoe, and then the gear selector, the actuator, just broke, I guess. It wouldn't come out of first gear. It went from 4th to 1st and just stayed there with what was it, probably 10 laps to go. I couldn't even, I still can't believe it. They had the car to win, I think, and just bummed for these guys. The luck's been so bad this year, but what are you going to do? It's racing.
A tough day for you, but what about your teammate Mike Conway?
Yeah, no, I'm very happy for him. I feel like it was my race, though. So I'm very disappointed, but, I'm happy for him. If anybody, I'd like one of our teammates to win. It's hard to swallow right now. I felt like we really had it today, and I was really looking forward to racing Briscoe hard.
Marty, a rough day for Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Yeah, and a rough day for Mr. Penske, although his car finished second, so that's the good part. But you've been through this before, Roger. How do you handle it when a teammate takes another teammate out?
Well, first let me congratulate Michael Andretti and Conway for a great run. I mean, they really had it there at the end when it was time to go. We were obviously happy with Briscoe's run, but I looked at it on the monitor, and obviously Elio didn't run into the back of his teammate. Whether it was slippery down there, what happened, I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's too bad that it happened. We got a long way to go. These guys are teammates. They've helped each other. So, to me, I close the book and move on to the next race.
I know you don't. Do you have them sit down here and just chat about it, make sure everything's closed up?
No, I think that they'll talk here. I don't need to be a school teacher with these guys. These are grown men. So, we'll talk about it and we'll move on.
All right, but the captain brought his car home in second place today with Ryan Briscoe. Kevin.
Marty, welcome to the Canadian portion of the program. James Hinchcliffe finished 4th. Alex Tagliani finished 5th. Let's start with the rookie. Race number 2. Okay, I think we'll take this, right?
Yeah, holy crap, yeah, top 5. I'll take that any day. It's funny, someone told me coming into the race between Atlantic and Lights and my time here, I have an average finishing position of 4.8, so who'd have thought we'd actually managed to maintain or make it even better in the IndyCar. But no, I think with the day we had Friday with the car catching on fire and the guys having to struggle to get the backup car out, it just says a ton for these boys. At Newman Haas, I don't think we got the most out of the car in qualifying, but had a really consistent, really comfortable race car. Obviously took advantage of some other guys' misfortunes, but kept our nose clean and brought the 06 Brock car home in a top 5. Just fantastic result.
These are longer races than Lights cars. Show us your hands. You don't normally have to deal with that as much in the Lights races, so you got some blisters there.
It felt worse in the car. I thought they were going to look a bit uglier, but it's probably the longest race I've done by a factor of 2. It's twice as long as anything, and the curbs here just really. I just got to man up a little bit, Kevin, is what's got to happen. Alex will tell you. It's just a rookie with very, very soft hands.
Nice job.
Thanks very much.
He's keeping the Canadians proud. All right, your run today. Let's talk about how you got up from 9th up into the lead and were able to stay up front. Tell me how you made up that track position early.
Well, the Bowers and Wilkins team was quick on the radio. I mean, they saw Justin spinning. I saw him spinning, so I dive into the pits. And then when I came out, I saw Wilson was out of there, and I said, oh my God, they're not going to throw that yellow. And finally, Simona spun, and that was what puts us in the lead. So it was a great call from the team. And we had a little bobble on the second stop, obviously, with a problem with the probe. Lost a lot of position there, but then at the end, good restarts. And, we were fighting a little loose car, but I think the team is proud to finish 5th and score points and jump in the championship.
2 cars aren't supposed to fit through turn 1, but it did happen a few times. What was your vantage point? What were you seeing about these restarts?
Well, I mean, it's going to be all season long, attritions, and the race will be played on restarts and starts, and it's unfortunate a bit. But for us, we took advantage some, and at the end, we lost some position because of it. So, but we're still in one piece after this race, so I think we're the fortunate one, and we'll take this one and go to Brazil and try to continue to score points and get in top 5, before Indy.
Good run.
Thank you.
5th for Alex Tagliani. One of his Sam Schmidt Motorsports teammates, Townsend Bell, by the way, was here this weekend getting set for their run at the Indianapolis 500.
All right, thank you, Kevin. And Elio Castroneves is still a very dejected race driver after having contact with his teammate. But on the other hand, we have a lot of emotion, a lot of happy emotion for Mike Conway, who wins here in Long Beach. The points lead changes again after the 3rd of 18 races in the 2011 Eyes on IndyCar Series campaign. Dario back on top. Look at Mike Conway. He won the race and moved up 18 positions in the point standings to 5th. Alex Tagliani gained 3, and Ryan Briscoe was also a big mover, gaining 16 positions with his 2nd place finish here this afternoon. Well, let's take a look at the final rundown. There are 5 different teams in the top 5 here this afternoon, with Mike Conway, of course, the winner of the race.
And Mike Conway was brought to the series by Mark Blundell, who's his manager. He won 3 kart races, did Blundell, but never Long Beach. So the protege has pulled it off.
17 cars on the lead lap when the final checkered flag fell. Scott Dixon was a lap back in 18th position as we go now to Brazil for some more street racing, Wally.
I love it. I love street racing. It's my favorite. I think it's just a blast to watch. It's a blast to do, too.
Yeah, it sure is. And there you see that there were 5 cars out of the race when things were over, including Ryan Hutter-Ray, who had such an incredible run until he had the problem with the car. Charlie Kimball out in an incident. E.J. Viso also, and Marco Andretti and Sebastian Bourdais ran into each other in the pit area. So we move on now to our next race as the ceremonies in Victory Lane continue here at Long Beach. And I got to admit that if I were to pick a winner before this race, it wouldn't have been Mike Conway. And I just think that's great to have a first-time winner.
I would pick him.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Wally.
There were a lot of surprises, one of which, on this particular circuit, they have to figure out a way to clean up those double foul restarts to get everyone together. But
they didn't disappoint.
Mike Conway, your winner here in Long Beach. Well, coming up next, Lord Stanley Summer. Be sure to join us in 2 weeks, Sunday, May 1st, for the Sao Paulo Indy 300 at noon Eastern. Eyes On, the official apparel of the Eyes On IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. For more information on the Eyes On IndyCar Series, log on to Versus.com. Once again, congratulations to our winner here this afternoon, Mike Conway. For Wally Dallenbach, Jan Beekes, Marty Snyder, Kevin Lee, Lindy Thaxton, and Robin Miller, I'm Bob Jenkins. See you in 2 weeks.